Valentine's Day. How's it going? I hope you're well. I hope you're well and having a beautiful day. Today we're having a nice date. It's a date night, and we're doing things a little bit different. I think I put on like way too much eyeliner. How are you? I'm still setting things up with Ophie. We're gonna have a nice, good time. I'm so excited. Hello! Hi, China! Welcome! Okay, so we're gonna try something new. I'm nervous about this. I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna bring her here. The idea was to connect Discord. That's what I need to figure out. And okay. So today we have a guest. And this guest and someone, oh, I don't like that. It's not, oh, that was so weird. It's like hiding the mic. Our guest today is a friend of mine from the online world. They are a writer, a poet, an artist, a curator, and all around romantic. I'm very excited to bring in Ophie. Ophie is a newish friend of mine, actually. Why does it keep taking the mic away? Please, I need the mic in view. Okay, let's see. So I'm gonna call. I'll call Ophie, and then I'm gonna share video, and then I think doop-a-doop. Hello. Wait. Hi, okay, I hear you. Your voice is so low. Wait, no, that's just me. My volume is low. Okay. I'm gonna have to turn down our date music so that I can hear our honkin' guest. Which is fine, it's supposed to be background music. And then this is a fun experiment that we're doing. Should I have figured this out beforehand? I don't know. I don't know, girl. I know, it's such a fun experiment. Oh wait, I think I hear my echoey on my end. Like I can hear me from your end. Okay, let's see. Yes, that sounds so good. Okay, so I'm just talking to Ophie on one end, and then I'm gonna get her on the screen in a second. Let's get this on. Nope, that's not what I want. Wait, actually, it's fine. Okay, I want to shrink this. Perfect. We're getting there. Okay. And then I have a cute little thingy to put you in. It's gonna be so cute. Okay, here we go. We're on screen. Ophie, you are live on air. Yay! Welcome.
Hi.
Everyone, can you hear?
Hello.
Can you hear Ophelia?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Can you...
Is that still an echo? Yes. No, I mean, I wonder if you could still hear yourself, like, through my mic.
I can't hear myself through the mic anymore.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I can't.
Really? Oh, okay. I'm going to start to, like, lower the volume even more. Okay, how about this? Can you try hello? Can you hear me? And can you hear yourself? Okay, that's good. Hi, you look stunning. I'm so lucky to be, on this date.
Can you hear me now? That's so interesting. I turned. Can you hear me on here? Let me mute myself on there. Are you watching the stream, Ophie? I don't really know how to work this.
Yes, so like you're muted now on mine.
Were you getting like, was it double sounds earlier? Is it better this way?
Um, well, I am tuned in to Twitch through the phone.
Okay. I guess we'll make it work. Yay! Okay. Amazing. I'm just trying to make like your I can hear you both. Yay! Thank you so much, China. Appreciate you for helping out with the technicalities. Do you like my little thing? This is so cute. I like that you're an eyeball. It matches my crystal ball so perfectly.
Thank you. I mean, it is so whimsical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, now there is an echo. How do we sort this out?
Interesting. Well, how was your night going, China? Have you celebrated Valentine's Day today? Thanks for being our Valentine today.
I think this is this better? Like I can hear you, you can hear me, but there's no echo?
Yes, I don't hear an echo.
Okay, that's good. Or I could grab my headphones
Okay.
and since we're not in a hurry.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good idea.
Okay,
I think
I'll
headphones is a
be
good vibe.
right back.
Okay. Excellent. Thanks for your patience, everyone, for our technical experimentation. Do you like my background? Do you like... Wait, I'm gonna move the hand. I think this is like too... It's covering the Eiffel Tower. Should I just remove the hand? She's my guest. She's sitting... This is my date. My date is sitting beside me. I think the hand makes it interesting though. But originally I wanted to try to get the to have it like on top of each other like an overlay, but I don't really know how to make that work. Blend mode. Ooh. Okay, perfect. I don't really celebrate Valentine's Day. My day was filled with doing schoolwork. Oh, what are you doing for school? How is school going? Ooh, the eyeball. I wonder how that's gonna look once it turns green, like when she speaks. Ooh, let me add a text so that you know that that's her. Duh. Um. Ooh, psychology. What year are you in? That's very fun. Is there a specific field or like I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Specific area of psychology that you're studying? Maybe I'll duplicate this. No. Okay, so I'm creating text so that we can name. We can give a name for Ophie. Wait, what's our font though? What font have we been using? Space mono regular. Duh. Okay. Why are these so giant? Ophie. Perfect. That's too big. Excellent, excellent. Bold italic. Yes. I like it. Yay! What do we think? Does that make sense? Oh, I need this to be centered. Is that an option? It doesn't seem like it. Bonk. Excellente. Yay. Oh, this is nice. This is nice. My ghost mic is so trippy. So, I don't have an agenda for today other than showing up and wanting to hang out and ask Ophie some questions. But if you have anything that you want to ask or talk about that is like Valentine's oriented or like love relationship, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'm going to be pulling some cards as well. I'm going to pull some cards for us today for our stream and also for Ophie, mostly to help help give us direction and where to go for the stream. I think that'll be very fun. Okay, we're still waiting on Ophie to grab her headphones. She's saying they're being weird. Okay, yes. Is this better? That's so interesting. It's not like picking me up. Like my stream isn't picking me up through Discord. Okay, where's the M? Oh yeah, it's really not. Cool.
Hello.
Hi, welcome back. Okay, you're...
Hi. I have tried to use the Bluetooth headphones, but
Yeah.
I feel like it complicates things because it connects to Twitch on my phone and then there's a bunch of random... I wonder if we could keep this set up or should I try with a phone?
I think it sounds good right now.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah,
hear any
let's
echo.
do that.
Fingers crossed. This year is my last year getting my associates in development psychology. Ooh, that sounds really interesting. Do you know anything about Psych Ophie? Can you hear me okay through the Discord? Because I have that on.
Sorry, I'm just adjusting your on mine so I can hear you properly without the echo.
Okay.
But
There's
I feel like
also
this is good.
there's a button that also says something about echo in the voice.
Let's see.
Hello, Homelander. Yes, congratulations and good luck on finishing up with your studies. feel like psych is a very heavy subject.
Is there an echo still?
No,
No?
no, I don't hear an echo. And you sound great. You sound closer.
Ooh, great.
Yay!
Perfect.
Okay, amazing. We both sound okay. Yay! Thanks so much, Homelander. We're just trying things out and have no idea what's going on. Happy Valentine's Day. How is your Valentine's
Yes.
Day going?
Yes.
Mm,
Wait, are you speaking to me or
yes.
people?
Um, yes, I was curious for Homelander, but also you, Ophie. How's your Valentine's Day weekend? What have you been up to?
It was really relaxing. Thank you for
Yay,
asking.
that's so good.
We we just got back from a really long trip because both my siblings, my brother and my sister, their birthdays are in February.
Oh,
And so we were just celebrating. And so I felt completely exhausted by the time the trips were up. So we went home and I ended up going on a date, which was nice. It was
mm.
lovely. And also quite fun. We played pool and then we went to a bookshop, classic me.
I love that.
And then I went home and also in the evening had a Galentine's
Wait, you had like a triple
dinner
date?
slash yes this weekend. So I was quite ecstatic to receive your invite, but also in the back of my mind I was thinking, all right, like I'm going to have to juggle 3 dates.
Oh my god.
It's so
I
fun.
love
Thank you
that.
for
You're so
having me.
popular. I'm so glad that you had the chance to like come hang out. This was like literally last minute. I was like, this will be fun if you're free. I would love that. Um,
Oh, well, I think you're quite cool and popular too. I'm
aw,
really excited to be here.
thank you so much. Homelander says my Valentine's has been relaxed, nothing special. Spoiled my daughter at Ulta, then had dinner with a wife. That sounds like a very great Valentine's Day for everybody. I love that. Spoiling everybody at Ulta? That sounds
I
very
love
nice.
how sometimes it's just in the mundane where you can.
Mm,
For me, Valentine's Day, if you're a Venetian, it feels like every day is Valentine's Day. Or
exactly.
like when you're deep in the trenches of romanticizing your life, at least for me.
Yes. No, I agree. I think like every opportunity is like every day is an opportunity to celebrate in a very Venusian way. Okay, I'm
How did yours go? I'd love to hear it.
how did mine go? Mine's still pretty chill. Like I think I'm really excited to have the podcast as my Valentine. And I don't know, like this has been the most fun, like manic thing that I've had to pursue in a while. So it's nice that like I get to celebrate through like enjoying hanging out with people online and like getting to do things that I don't know, that I kind of just like have been waiting on. I feel like all the things that I've been like
Mhm.
putting together, it's kind of led to this moment of like, okay, like for a long time I was like, I don't really know what to do with Twitch. And when this kind of just like this idea came through, I was like, oh, obviously I'm going to be talking about love. What? Why did that take me so long to figure out? So I'm having a happy time
Well,
doing
I
that.
was about to say I love how the through line, like when people figure out what it is that they want to do in any like pursuit, it always takes a bunch of like, I guess, figuring it out and trying and failing and then ending up at a place where you're seeing things come together. And it's just really wonderful to watch it all fall into place and feel like, oh, everything led to this moment. This is why things are happening, or this is why things unfolded that way.
Yes, exactly. Like I needed all the pieces in the puzzle first to be able to lay everything down. I'm trying to set up my camera. I don't know if you can see the stand over here.
Oops, I think I lost you
Oh,
towards the end.
hello?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Okay,
Self
we're good. Yep, I
self-love.
totally agree. And
Sorry, go ahead.
The idea is just so exciting. Like, I would love to have a tarot. I see this more like I'm going to have a tarot card reading, and then we just get to yap together.
No, literally.
So it's really fun.
Exactly. I love that I'm gonna read tarot for my friends. What is this?
Yay, exciting.
Yay. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to set up the tarot camera and it's giving me something funny. I'm like, that doesn't look right. Okay, let's take this off. No! Dang it, so I can't have that. And my background?
What's wrong?
Oh, that's so bizarre. Okay. Hmm.
I love the French theme that we've got going here.
It's so silly. Um, Homelander
See, it
saying
looks so
self-love and
high
preservation is the
quality.
perfect way to enjoy the day as well. Yes. Knowing yourself and loving yourself completely allows you to be the best version of yourself you can be. Exactly. I agree. That feels right.
That is, yeah, perfect. Hmm. Nothing more, carry on.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out my tarot camera right now because I have the background on. My computer like won't let me not have a camera or have a background. Okay, I think it's
Mm.
silly, but we'll make it work. Okay, my hand is here. Let's transition you. Okay, let me move this around.
You've got this.
We have multiple barriers to
Improvising as we go.
don't worry about the multiple Eiffel Towers. This is just the way of life.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Exactly. Okay, cute. So Ophie, like I want to know, like I feel like I don't actually know your
Yes.
lore. Um, how did you start your account? Like, what is it
Hmm.
like being an internet muse?
Ooh, on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
or in general, like posting in general.
Posting in general.
Posting in general.
Yeah, and just like your way of
Yes.
like
So.
sharing and creating
Mhm.
space.
Okay. Well, I actually was in denial of my writing skills for a long time because, like, for more context, we always traveled a lot when I was younger. And I read a lot of books. I was very studious, but also mum told me to start a journal when I was 7 years old. And I got into poetry. But it was always this hidden part of me because I never really got to explore it outside of, just my personal life. So it was not like I wanted to share these pieces and parts of myself. And I dabbled in the arts, but in the realm of performing and theatre before I entered um, painting and also just the different mediums that you can do when it comes to multimedia art. So I kind of had a really long journey with it. I spent most of high school being in denial of my skills and just telling myself that I would probably be better off as an attorney or a lawyer. And, the types of things that Asian parents set you up for
Yeah,
were
yeah.
very Asian that way, even though I grew up like in three different cities and countries and have always been exposed to culture. But I've always been interested in people, in places, in trying new things. And I think that was what prompted me to be like, okay, well, I have an interest in meeting all sorts of people and indulging myself in different types of culture. I might as well go on the internet and try to connect with them. And big groups overwhelm me. I'm an introvert at heart, but I found it to be amazing for, you know, finding real connection
Mm-hmm.
in a global sense. And it's the easiest way to do that without having to go on a flight or buy a ticket. So, um, this is a very long-winded way of saying um, I I've really enjoyed it. Like I started it during the pandemic, and for over the last 6 years, I've just been connecting online with people through my writing.
Yeah.
So I kind of use it as a public diary.
That's the
It
best.
transitioned from, having a journal, and then just also, oh, I forgot to say this, but before the pandemic, what I was doing was I had a private account solely for my friends. But my friends weren't interested in reading my work all the time. Like we're all interested in different things. So I think I need to find writer friends. Like I need to find artistic
Yeah.
people, creative people. So that's how Venus and Vixen started. And Venus comes from, of course, my Venus in Libra and my love for Aurora. She has a song called um, Only, forgot what the title is, but there's a lyric there that says "Only for love," and I did it because I am. I've always just been centered around love. I think love is the force that really creates this momentum around everything that I do in life.
Mm-hmm.
And also, lastly, like fun law, I was probably conceived on the 14th of February.
Really?
Really? Yes.
I'm like, oh, right, you're a
And it's
Scorpio,
funny.
right?
You're a Scorpio, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I love that. That's so funny. I love seeing memes that are like, please, we don't need any more Scorpios. Please stop doing it on Valentine's Day. And I'm like, I love Scorpios. I don't know what you guys are doing wrong to get to have
I think
Scorpios hate you.
people are intimidated. Sorry, my dog's here.
Oh, puppy!
I wonder if you can hear them.
No. Discord silencing them. They are being
Silencing
silenced.
them. They're being silenced. Oh, okay. Well, I was just saying, I think people kind of love or are fascinated by Scorpios or just women being in power, honestly. They're scared of it, they're intimidated,
Yeah.
but it's not that scary. I mean, I feel like I'm a genuinely soft and sensitive person that kind of comes off intimidating at the start, but not really.
I feel like that's something to do with like fall signs, like Virgos, Libras, and Scorpios and Sagittarius. I guess like also Capricorns. They all have a very intimidating way about them, and I feel like it has to do with maybe the essence of like grounding down and preparing for winter and being focused in that way, other than like comparatively to Leos in the summer. People are more extroverted and excited, and then Taurus in like the beginning of the spring, people are also like coming out of their shell and stuff. So I wonder if that is
Ooh,
what that's
that
that's my
is
perspective on
true.
it.
Yes, it feels like I guess we're all oriented inwards more, and it's like it's a cool season, and cool people, not cool in the sense where, like the cool kids, but more of calmer ones, grounded ones. Um, because I love Leos, like I have a Leo moon, but I also think that they cannot be, in terms of temperature, I find them to be really warm people,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't see myself as a completely warm person. Like I've been told I'm sort of the equivalent of the cold side of a pillow, which is my favorite
That's
compliment of
yeah.
all time. I think about it like occasionally.
That's very
Yeah, I love
comforting.
that.
That's so sweet.
It it is like I think I could be comforting. I could be the type of person that's like really warm for somebody, but in a cool way, in a cold way.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know if that makes sense.
No, it yeah, it takes the heat away. It's nice. No, that's such a good compliment. I love that. I pulled some cards while you were talking, and this is interesting that we got
Yes.
some reversals. I think also because this is specifically about you growing your page and wanting to connect with your people and finding your people. So the
Hmm.
Seven of Pentacles, and that was in reverse. So these are, I usually like to do like a past, present, and future reading. And the Pentacles is about longevity. Ooh, I feel like this has something to do. So, can
Yes.
I share? Can you share actually the thing that happened when you woke up with your mirror?
Immediately, when you said that, reversals and also longevity, I'm like, those are the two words I feel have been resonating with me because I'm like, the Saturn being in Pisces since 2023 has been massive in terms of its influence over the fantasy side of me, like my Lilith in Pisces, the dark feminine side of me that's just working with the trauma of the shame and rejection of being a whimsical bitch. I would love to say that here. I wonder if this is like, are the minors here?
No, you're
Are we
fine.
allowed to say that?
You can
But
swear.
there is something about the my Lilith kind of under Saturn because I'd been forced to come to terms with the fact that I've always lived in my head
Mm.
in a very not deluded way, but more of a fantastical thing where nothing in reality that I see compares to my imagination. And I've always thought of that as a weakness.
Mm.
So the fact that
Interesting.
that had been the things that I was dealing with for the longest time had been a rejection, at least the imagination that I've always my art from. Since I was a child, I was told, it's not practical, it's not pragmatic enough.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so I think there is that pragmatic side of me that has had to be the boring one, the one to say, we're not going to go there because that's not realistic. But then with the reversals and the fact that I just woke up one morning right before Saturn exited Pisces and my mirror on the bedside just cracked, like completely shattered right at the center. I was like, this is a sign.
That's very intense.
I feel like yes, it's a very clear sign, a symbol, honestly, that I feel like is more of a feeling rather than even, I can't even put it into words. It's just there.
Mm. Yeah. This mirror, is it, do you feel like it's something like how often did you interact with it, and were there is it usually like a special moment that you do, like routine or ritual that you had with it?
So it's about like a square that's the size of my head. I usually just pass by it and, check my reflection. I'm like, okay, when I get up in the morning and I leave the bed and I look around and look at myself in the mirror and I'm checking to see my face and my identity and just like seeing, oh, there you are. I've had a weird
Oh.
relationship with like the shift because I used to do modeling as well. Okay, so more law, but I used to do modeling. I also used to campaign, you do brand campaigns just locally. And the shift in perception from when I stopped doing that during the pandemic, it
Mm.
made me realize that I didn't want to look at myself that much. Or at
Mm.
least like I don't want to see photos of myself a lot. I'm very camera shy, but also when I post it on Instagram or any platform, it kind of feels like narcissus sometimes. Like I don't want to be seeing my face there all the time. So my in terms of like my relationship with mirrors, it's interesting. It has changed quite a lot. I
Yeah.
don't use them that much, but they are a part of my day-to-day routine where, I check if I'm presentable enough, if I can go outside looking
Yeah.
like this.
But yeah, no, that makes so much sense the way that you just said. That was a place where you kind of just checked your, I guess, like not reality, but just seeing your presence. Homelander says, us fall signs are very strong willed, but express that grounded integrity differently. Ooh, I like that. Um, so with the Eight of Pentacles in reverse, like that's what I feel like. It's like you were. Do you feel like it was hard in the beginning to find your footing, but also to find the right audience and community?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's always been a recurring theme. And I feel like it is for a lot of, well, Aquarius people, but also people that just feel so weird. Like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
the weird girl archetype, or if you have neurodivergence, you struggle to really connect with people in person.
Yeah.
And I think that I love the internet because then you meet so many people who empathize with you on a level that most people in your current environment cannot.
Yes. And then also, I guess this does like feel like what you said about your identity and like modeling. I was thinking, there was a time when I felt very similar, like photos were very jarring, and it was a very hard time for me to like come to grips with like, is that what I look like? Especially since I get used to like, or I was used to specific angles of me and like taking selfie mode all the time. And then once
Hmm.
I started becoming friends with more photographers who had the eye that like I hoped that someone would look at me as, and then people who loved me that were also photographers, like there's a very specific
Yes.
way that like people that have the skill are able to capture you accurately.
I love that you bring that up because it is such a metaphor for even perception in general.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been hesitant to be perceived where, you know, like if you tell your friends more than you feel comfortable, or if you're just vulnerable
Yeah.
in public. Yeah. I've always struggled with accepting that they are going to be misinterpreting what they perceive.
Mm.
And I think this, you know, with the mirror cracking, I think it also shatters the need to be understood. Like the need to be understood in any
Mm.
sense, whether that's the framing of their perception or the framing of the image in general of my image to them. I think it's important as an artist that we separate it and realize that we aren't it's not that it's not that big of a deal to be perceived in a multitude of ways because that's what we're meant to be. Like that's what being a muse is, where you allow people to come up with their own interpretations even of yourself.
Yes.
But I think it's also important to kind of create that distance or set that boundary of, like, for instance, I never really share personal life stuff on my Instagram, or if, you know, as I'm growing a following, I find myself creating more of a boundary around what I'm sharing because to me, it's like the difference between my personal life and professional life. Like, I would never really divulge so many things at work.
Yeah.
And I think I treat that as some kind of, you know, like work environment for me as an
Mm.
artist.
That's a really good distinction of how to be online because I don't have that. I'm like, everyone's gonna know what I'm thinking about right now. I mean, at least that's how I am on threads. On,
That's the thing.
yeah.
Like, I sorry, I just meant to say that I get so vulnerable with my writing that I think at some point I need to keep some things to myself to cope with the feeling that I'm being perceived in such a vulnerable way,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I understand. Like, I feel like I can be very vulnerable a lot of the times, but I am still very private in many ways. And sometimes there are some things that like I don't feel like are secrets, and then I share them with somebody and they suddenly feel like we're close because I shared something that was like would be perceived as something intimate. And to me I was just like, this is just information.
Yes.
You're just another you're just another
Yes.
conversation. Like this is fine. It's not, you know?
Like you need them to honor the weight that it comes with, or if they can't do it, then just don't hear about it. Like I've also been thinking about how sometimes when you are in the middle of a process, because for me, my well of emotions are what fuels my art. Without my feelings, like I've never had to actually perform
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to sharing art or writing or any kind of art in general. I don't feel this pressure to create something from nothing.
Yeah.
It's always come from something more intuitive. And that intuition, sometimes that process feels like it's being disrupted if there are people watching before it's ready to be shared.
Mm.
So that is also just me respecting. If I don't share my plans, the second I'm processing or self-serving, I wouldn't do that with a word.
Wait, sorry, you're cutting
So
up.
it's like this distinction. Hello?
Hi.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. I was saying, if I don't divulge my feelings with even my personal life to my friends when I'm in the middle of a process, I don't do that. I always just tell them whenever I've gone through something,
Yes.
or like, I think we all deserve that. I feel like, especially with our signs, because we have so many common signs, I think we need this level of privacy that is taken away from us by the modern age and the digital era.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is now available, and we all feel as though we owe people things. We owe people stories of our lives. We owe them life updates. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, I could go through something in my life and nobody online would hear about it, at least. And even then, my friends, it takes a long time for me to be able to feel ready to tell them whenever I've gone through something really deep, like
Mm-hmm.
grief or losing a loved one.
Yeah.
I I appreciate when they are there and they show up, but we don't really talk about feelings. Like, I would love to keep my feelings to myself and then go from there.
I relate a lot to that. I find that I need a lot of internal processing. In the Placidus system, I have my sun in the 12th house, and then also I have my Mars right before my rising. So I feel like I have a lot of things that I like to do in my alone time. Um, and like
Mm,
there are certain people in my life where they are an active participant in my day to day, and then there are my groups of friends where I don't process with them. And sometimes the people I process with, like, it's sometimes just one person. And and I am learning that, like, it might be like, I think it might be a neurodivergent hyperfixation type of thing, and just like having a hard time like dealing with larger groups. But I've been the last year I've been learning to branch out more with reaching out to people and letting others see perspective and see like the messiness of me and be like, hey, like, here's a really vulnerable thing. I
mm-hmm.
haven't made a decision about it yet. This is what I think. Do you think this is weird or whatever, whatever? And like, even then it's like, okay, I don't know what to do with that, but thank you for just like witnessing that with me, because like I just felt really fucking weird. And
No, I think it makes perfect sense.
it's very like, I don't know, like it's kind of weird to have to practice that again, because I felt like it was more natural at a certain point, and then suddenly I lost the skill, and it was just like, I deal with my problems on my own. I will never talk to anyone about anything ever. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. That's also, yes, that reminds me of the fact that I've been hearing this speech that Lana, I love Lana, in terms of inspiration. She's always been like an inspiration for me. But Lana had talked about how sometimes when you're on the path and you keep moving on it and gain momentum, you feel like you've lost something or you're unable to keep going because you don't know how to do the things that you were so good at from the start.
Mm.
But really, the truth is, the path gets narrower as you go further along it. And
Ooh.
it just keeps going like that, where you kind of feel like, okay, I have my seasons, I'm feeling out of balance, and feeling the need to go back to my why. And so for me, that is like some of the most basic information that we hear all
Wait,
the
sorry.
time, like, go back to your why, go back to your why. Um, But I think it keeps me so grounded because then whenever I start to feel like, oh, nobody wants to hear my work, like the inner critic is acting up, I remind myself that I'm not doing this for any of them. Like, this is just me sharing my expression. And in that expression, if I meet people who resonate with it, then I am a lucky, lucky girl. But if
Mm.
not, then I'm completely fine, like just going
Yeah.
along this path of like, okay, I'm going to keep witnessing this experience, this confusing, messy, flawed experience of human life and wholeness, and journeying through that like fractured, broken side of you that feels like there's so much despair and joy and also suffering.
Yeah.
And it's like learning to hold all those pieces together close to your heart, even when you've forgotten the reason why you did it in the first place.
I feel like a lot of the human experience is just witnessing each other and reminding each other back to each other, like to yourself. Oh, wait, I did not say that right. But like
No, like
helping each
it's
other, like
perfect
walking each
for
other back
Valentine.
home. I feel like
Yes.
I I feel
We
like I'm not
are
like
just journeying.
yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, I'm like I feel like I'm not really like reading you with the tarot, but like the tarot is just like this conversation is unfolding in this direction anyway.
Mm,
Because we talked about
I
being in
love it.
community and
It's a
like
mirror.
finding our people. Yeah, I find that whenever I read tarot, like it is a very good mirror of like the moment that I'm in. There was a point actually when you were talking about I think this is when you were talking about like not feeling comfortable with seeing like being seen. I was pulling from my oracle
Mm.
deck and then the sun card came out in this deck and it's so pretty. Let me take pictures because
Oh,
my freaking computer's being funny. But the sun card, it was very much like I think because you were talking about feeling like narcissist, and I was just like, well, I don't know. Like, yes, and I do feel that there is a way to um, nurture those reflections of ourselves and like see like the little details that we might have missed that even someone unskilled they see it from their eyes, you know, like you know those like
yes.
memes where like let's say like hetero relationships, a man like the boyfriend always takes really shitty
Mm-hmm.
pictures of the girlfriend. But it's like because like he's just like so in love with
Mm-hmm.
how comfortable she is or like how her laugh and just like the way she just like sits in these certain ways when like us like we kind of find something embarrassing about it. So it's nice like I find to relearn how to love myself through someone's eyes, even if look at it and I'm like, that's not. Why are you doing me like that? And they're like, but I love it. You're so
Well,
great.
yes. I love I love what you were saying after I'd shared that experience because you said something I've always been pondering um for a while now regarding like if you are seen with the right eyes or perceived with the right framing, it won't feel as uncomfortable. And I think it's so important to be able to speak to that because not only is it like, hey, we're about to get a bit political here, but like for the last couple of generations, even in the modeling industry or in the beauty industry, women have been wired to fit these standards
Mm-hmm.
that powerful men, powerful white men have decided for them. And they've decided that they want us to be fragile and innocent and just something that suits their grotesque fantasies
Yep.
of pedophilia, things like that. And I think most of my discomfort came from the idea that I was conforming to a set of societal rules that I did not agree with, that I felt were exploitative and also took advantage of my innocence at a time when I was meant to be enjoying my youth.
Yes.
So I think this shift in perception is really allowing me to reclaim this power in all right, then how would I want to be perceived? Who do I want to work with? Like which lens or which framing am I now allowing people to see me with?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if I ever start to I plan to do this probably when I've hit like 10 million followers or subscribers on Substack, which is crazy, but let's be unrealistic. I do plan to start posting more photos of myself, my life, or my experience with it. Not so much oversharing, but still, letting people see behind the veil.
Mm-hmm.
When I do that, I think I would love to be the woman who is just completely unapologetic when it comes to who she is. Like, if I want to wear this and it doesn't suit the male gaze, I'm going to be completely okay with that. And
Yes.
that is what you're going to put up with because it's my body, it's my image. And yeah, I don't want to be caught up in the social media lifestyle of an influencer or model who just does things because they're profitable. I
Yes.
want to do things because they mean something.
That's so interesting. So, this is the sun card. If you see it on the screen, let me make this bigger. It's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Don't forget to water your plants." I also pulled this card yesterday, and it's nurturing a little inner child. So I feel like it's perfect exactly to what you were saying, just rewiring that expectation and finding ways to love yourself in new light. Um, I find that I was going through old pictures at some point, and I find that like there's a lot of me that has been wired to want to be the Western standard, to want to be like a white person. And because I wasn't that specific look that I was looking for, I didn't feel proud of the pictures that I had. And looking back on it, I'm like, these pictures are great. Like, what the heck? Why am I hoarding these? And it's like, now we've shifted, and now with TikTok and people being more just like vulnerable and raw online, I am finding more people with faces like me. I'm finding more access to just like, even with like UGC users, like those are people who are not influencers and their aesthetic is just to be a normal person. And being okay with not being like the pristine clean girl, like I think that's still something that's like I'm trying to
Yes.
like
Ooh.
unprogram my
Mhm.
mind because I'm like I'm never gonna be that girl. Like sometimes I'll be Pilates princess because like the outfit just like feels good, but like it's
Mm.
like it is
I'll get a matcha and like go to Pilates at 6 in the morning
right.
and just wear pink.
Yeah, like it's a fun costume, I think, but it's not like it doesn't suit me in my everyday. So that's something that I have been like
Mm-hmm.
reframing to be like, well, who do I look like and why do I need to look like someone else? What if
Mm.
someone else is looking for someone like me too? So that's like kind of like I've been thinking about getting into YouTube recently, and then I have one of my friends, she started YouTube
Mm-hmm.
recently,
Wow.
and she's a Filipina that lives in the UK, and she's a mom. And
Mm-hmm.
she was basically like, yeah, I don't see anyone that looks like me that talks about motherhood, so I need to fucking be on there. And I was like, you know what, like I've felt like that for a long time, but and I would like expect myself to be a certain way, but just like watching her videos, and I'm just like, oh, like this is literally like just hanging out with you. Like this is how we would hang out on the phone or like FaceTime, and I'm like, I really make it overcomplicated in my head. Like the Virgo in me is like, well, it needs to be perfectly perfect before I can do anything about it.
Yes.
And it's like, oh, like this is just another act of reclamation, another act of like self love, of like I can take space, and taking up space is also like its own standpoint, its own like political standpoint, I think.
That's a beautiful way to put it. To your point, I was texting one of my friends, I think just a few months ago, about how I'm learning to really appreciate the gravity of the mundane, the ordinary things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think sometimes when we are in a deep state of survival, we tend to glamorize or fantasize a version of ourselves that
Yes.
hasn't quite landed. And especially with Saturn leaving Pisces, where we're kind of exiting the dreams, exiting the subconscious, we are now meeting ourselves in the reality of what we've accomplished over the last 6 years. And those 6 years feel very important as well for women because we have been so hard on ourselves
Yeah.
in terms of who we're supposed to be or what we're supposed to look like. Or, like you're supposed to have a soft life or you're supposed
Mm-hmm.
to be a trad wife and then just do all these things that I don't want to be a trad wife, but I do love baking. I love staying at home. I love making, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a level of also like an identity somewhere, even
Mm-hmm.
in the matcha Pilates princess girl. Like,
Yeah.
there is a part of me that does want to be structured and stick to routines and wear pink, but that isn't all me. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what you were saying, where it's like we as women are so multidimensional, and also as people, not just women, just everybody is multidimensional. And I think that rather than, sticking to trends or conforming to what people want to popularize popular culture is. The truth is that the most artistic people are not the most popular ones. I think of Yoko Ono all the time
Mm-hmm.
and her story and how everybody has always just looked down on her. But I think she is the most unique, expressive artist that has come through of all time on this planet. And that legacy is so incredibly important for what we're moving into over the next few years, where we're rediscovering our sense of play and our tastes and allowing ourselves to be all of ourselves combined without any filters, just because, it's for the sake of expression. And in that expression, there's a level of freedom that cannot be acquired through copying someone else on the internet.
I feel like there's so much to think about that. Hold on. Sorry. I'm like, we just got a gifted. Thank you so much, Doxy, for the gifted. Um,
Yay!
there is like a transition from needing to replicate the online world, which is very boxed in. The way that the algorithm requires people to be is to be one specific way, and I think that is why people seem so like one dimensional when it's like you can be the matcha girl and just the normal girl and the Pilates girl like every other month and still be
You
that
can be
person.
whatever you want, darling, and we will love you.
Yes, exactly.
Like we will want you for you.
Homelander says people want to place everyone in a box so it's easier to understand us. Yes, and artists have a special role to reflect the beauty and ugliness of life unapologetically. Yes. I find that that is our role in society. Like, I think that's the aching thing about being a muse and being perceived. It's like we are here to trigger people positively, negatively in so many different ways. And I think it's like, it's heavy to be like, I made that happen, and to know that you don't have to
Mm,
fully take responsibility for all of that. Because, like, let's say I trigger my parents because I am so non traditional and I'm not like who they expected me to grow up to be, but at the same time, like, they are in the space of wanting to support me because they love me, but they're also like, I want to make sure my child is safe in this environment, and the way they're moving right now is very unpredictable and unsafe. And and then at the same time, like, me doing the exact same thing will inspire somebody else to become a better person or to explore more things in their realm. Like, triggering both fear, like the duality of fear and joy just for being yourself. I feel like for me, like, it's, I don't know, it's this like Gemini Leo bullshit where it's kind of just like,
yeah.
please, please, let me just
Mm,
be. Why do I see it all?
you do. Yeah. It is quite like a blessing in hers because it's not denial of the fact that you're most likely to be the person everybody.
Oh, wait, you cut up after everybody.
But it was ooh,
To be the person everybody.
yes. Um, and as I was saying, it's just when I was younger, I used to hate it. Like I could feel eyes on me, um, putting me on a pedestal, creating
Mm-hmm.
this narrative that was not necessarily true, but it was what they needed to accept that I exist as a person, like that I exist just as me, like the multi-passionate, probably will be academic, but also disappear from time to time, cutting classes or just doing whatever she wants, probably in the theater room, ignoring everybody else or rehearsing. And I think people have always just found that to be so odd with me because I don't like rules, I don't like conforming, I don't like authority, I don't like I have a lot of things that I don't like, and I'm very specific about the things that I do like, and they're also quite narrow and streamlined, and people see that structure, people see that playfulness, and people are like, how do you just exist with all of this inside of you? And I'm like, this is who I am. I'm not putting up some sort of act. I'm not
Yeah.
pretending to be, this dreamy fantasy girl that's also quite pragmatic and also quite grounded and also knows what she wants. People kind of struggle to deal with the idea of you when you possess these polarities inside of you. And as artists, I think we are meant to show them that you can exist with those polarities. Like you could be a lawyer and still write fan fiction because it's a secret dream of yours to become a writer. I've met so many lawyers who do this in their free time. This is
This is such a
insane.
specific example,
So,
too. I was like, huh?
like,
I love that.
one of my best friends is a juror, and she writes smutty fanfic on the
Oh my god,
internet
I love
in her
that.
free time.
Fanfic writers, oh my god, like, I remember being a teenager and I wrote a bunch of fanfic that I never posted online, but it's like, it really unlocks a really great realm for, like, imagination and also learning to communicate ideas.
Mm.
Um,
And learning yourself through characters, or learning yourself even as a writer, like learning you have the power to create these different narratives and then also change the course of the story,
mm-hmm.
which I think if we are evolved, or even like if we step into it deeper, we can then apply it to our day-to-day lives,
Yes.
where essentially you realize that these projections that people are throwing at you, they're creating fan fiction, and
Yep.
you are the real story. Like you are the original author of your life.
That's so funny,
So
like
you're
thinking of like
completely
projections as fan fiction. I love that. You're fan fictioning me, stop. Oh, that's so
like
good.
real life Wattpad.
Yeah, like, oh, this is so weird. This is parasocial, stop it. Homelander said it can feel lonely and isolating because we sit on the fringe of society. But when our work is successful, it creates a push and pull that helps move conformists towards a higher moral alignment. It's not meant to feel comfortable all the time, and as an
Mm,
artist, we know that. I think it is less about not liking society and conformity, but realizing the need to criticize systems when they have failed people. Exactly. And now a lot of
yeah.
people aren't ready
We
to
see
accept
things so
that.
clearly.
Yes.
Yeah, we see things without the veil or the illusion of grandeur. And like, I don't see any glory in the white picket fence American dream. For me, that has never been an option. Marriage has not been my dream. Like, it's insane because people think, oh, you're such a romantic, you believe in love,
Yeah.
but you don't also, you've never really seen marriage as an achievement because it's not. To
It's
me, it's like,
not.
okay, if I have it in this life, I would adore that. But also, I have more important things to do, like, my artist career
I feel
or
like
like
marriage is just like another expression.
philanthropy.
I would love to go to telepathy school. I heard there's like a good one. There's like a wizard school in the UK. It's very popular for some reason.
Ooh,
Yeah.
where?
I'll look for it. I'll look around. I think like Sai Swoon went
That's
to
exciting.
went to the wizard school, and then I know a few other
Mm,
people. But I find it interesting that we're
I
talking
went
about
to
like
one.
society and
Yeah.
like being like not wanting to hold onto these nuances. I feel like that is the five
Mm.
of what is this? Four pentacles? Oh, no, please.
Oh, that's quite true. Yes. And when it comes to the projections thing, like to add something to that, I guess I would just like to tie it back to what I had been sharing previously regarding the, how I dealt with the projections. Because then, as an artist, like people, the truth is, or at least not to generalize it, but what I've noticed in terms of our culture at the moment is that people don't really care about you until you're successful. They don't care about your personal life, your struggles. They don't care to hear about those things. Like it's the most authentic part of you, but people will dismiss that and set that aside to absorb your art, to find themselves in your art. And that's not a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to project onto an artist or to project onto their art and see yourself in it, to see yourself in someone's writing. But I think it also creates this kind of false sense of entitlement to an artist's life where you think that everything they are can be interpreted through the work that they produce, which is so odd, frankly, because I don't think we do that in other industries. We don't look at a copywriter and think, oh, everything that encapsulates them is in what they write about. That's
Yeah.
not true at all. Like, obviously, it's marketing. Like, you can't say that's the person. Like, you think you know me just because you've read my stuff or that you've like seen my paintings. It's, yeah, I think it's really important to distinguish that the fact that we can have a separate identity outside of what we produce as creative people, which is why like I said, there is this part of me that never really wants to introduce my life or share the whole story until there's people that are listening and people that truly care, because then you also want your story to be handled
Yeah.
in the right hands. So I think, that just connects to what you were saying previously.
Mm. Not letting people mishandle you exactly. Oh, I feel like you said something and I forgot. Damn it, I was gonna say something about it. Um.
It'll return, I think.
Hmm? Hmm.
Like it would probably come back if you lost it, the train of thought.
Yeah. Um. Oh, yes. An artist. And I think, like, the difference with an accountant, their work versus an artist, it's more, people perceive it as more vulnerable and it is an expression versus a command. I don't really, that is a really
Mm-hmm.
interesting, like, way to look at it. I never really thought of it that way. Because it's true. Why don't we give the same data to, like, other jobs?
Well, I would say from the perspective of an artist, like from the perspective of a consumer, I think we, as more law, is that I was also in marketing and business before posting things and sharing art. So, in terms of building a cult brand, as a consumer, I love brands that feel as though they have a unique voice and a niche way of articulating their services, their products, and things they do to impact the world. I think that is very influential for me. And what we don't realize is that a lot of the musicians and creative people and celebrities that we look up to, we love them because of their brand. But their brand is not who they are as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, where I'm going with this is that I think as an artist, I can safely say whenever I'm releasing something or whenever I'm writing something, I know it's ready to share with people because I don't feel as though it embodies me or
Mm.
encapsulates me, because it's done being a part of me.
Yes.
And so it now belongs to an audience or the
Ooh.
people who will connect with it. And it shapeshifts, it takes on a different form.
That's so good.
And in front of the audience who
So good.
perceives it, like when they start to, that's the beauty of poetry and writing that I so love because the words feel resonant with me in the moment. But when I start to share it with people, I feel massively detached to it. Like, okay, I'm done with this project, moving on to the next. And the people that receive my art instead take on that process of finding themselves in those words or in those images and seeing themselves and seeing the work of art shapeshift to accommodate their experience, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it at the for me it doesn't really matter so much that we're not. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I don't think we are our works of art. I don't think we honestly need to be that connected to what we've done in the past, because then it's just a fleeting moment of mirroring and witnessing ourselves. And then when that's over, it hardly reflects who I am now. Like, I'm so quick to change, I'm quite fluid with it. And I've been realizing that I move like water. Like, that's a lot of the water energy. It's fluid, it's freeing, and I don't necessarily tie myself to anything that I've ever presented before in front of people. I could say one thing today, tomorrow would be another story. And that's just how I operate on a fundamental, like personal level, but also on a professional level as I'm learning.
I do like the idea of art being channeled, and we are just the tools that it is moving through, and that we are not truly the owners of it. So that's why, like, I agree with you saying that, like, we are not our art. And I think, like, when things feel, I think sometimes I have a hard time with sharing vulnerable moments because it is so raw that I do feel like I'm showing up like naked online, and it's just like, wait, I'm not ready to, like, have anyone look at this yet. And to, like, let
Mm.
that, like, heightened state pass to be able to share something. Like, sometimes I feel like because I'm not in that moment anymore, like, oh, I don't need to share this, like, it's already passed, it's gone, whatever. But I think, like, that is, like, the best time to share things. It's like I've already learned and grown from it, and then I needed what I needed from it, so, like, maybe I need to pass this on to you.
Yes, sometimes I also feel it as this very visceral feeling of disgust that, okay, I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah, it's like,
It's like,
well,
I'm done with you.
well, please.
For instance, like if I'm editing an essay or if I'm writing something that I've spent weeks researching, I would get so into it. Obviously, like the hyper focused, hyper fixation, obsessed version of me just goes right into it. The moment that I'm done, like yapping, sharing, adding everything, I feel this sick feeling in my gut telling me it's time to stop. This is enough. And that's when I know, okay,
Mm-hmm.
time to share.
That's so interesting that, like, that's your visceral reaction. Homelander says, I had a professor that had said art is never
That's a
finished,
lovely
but
word.
art is never finished, but what we are willing to abandon. For me, the process is very cerebral and helps me work through many aspects of my emotions and personality, that it does feel finished and we can walk away from it. Hmm. I love learning from artists.
Exactly.
Yeah. Because, like,
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
process is always ongoing.
I love that artists also, and this is something that I've carried with me since uh, another piece of the law for me is that I used to coach little kids um, to sing because I was a musician for quite a long time before I lost my soprano privileges to vocal notes.
Hmm.
But in that period of time when I was coaching children, I realized like I've always felt connected to them. I think it's a Gemini energy of being an ancient child.
Yeah.
And I think artists carry this lovely quality of understanding that in order for you to process the depths of trauma and suffering that the world carries, and even the joys and the highs of it, you would be required to see things through the eyes of a child and have that lens of novelty all the time. Like
Mm.
if you feel like you're stuck or if you're in a place where it feels as though nothing's quite moving in your life, it's probably because you've forgotten to see things from the lens of a fresh perspective, like a creating this childlike lens and seeing it for the first time. If I were experiencing this thing for the first time, how would I react? Like, what are my emotions? We lose touch with our emotions, I think, because we forget that every experience has this, it alludes to the six senses. I think that's also my gift. Like, I've never been a natural at art or singing or anything. I've always had to work at it. But if I had a very natural thing to me, is that I've always felt like I could connect to the present in that sense, where I can really taste and see and hear and
Mm-hmm.
feel things in the moment and translate those through my expression of it, or at least share it with people and
Yeah.
create stories from it. um and so, yeah, because of that, I'm very much attuned to culture because it exposes me to a world of sensations
Mm.
that I think people forget that we have access to all the time.
I love the beginner's mind. It's such a like it's always a winning concept. I feel that like every moment is a new moment because we're always like different people at any second of the day. You have all of these your past coming with you and then your current like emotional and physical state, your mental state, like you are never the same person even if everything still feels the same. So like trying to approach everything and like giving yourself the grace to be like, okay, this feels familiar. I've probably done this before, but this is still new. I think it alleviates like a lot of pressure to I don't know, like be
Mm,
perfect all the time.
it's because of, I think, also our capacity to love, because love obliterates the ego completely. And when we see
Mm.
things in a loving, compassionate way, we are more inclined to, I guess, ground ourselves
Mhm.
and be and approach things with humility. And then in that state, we can then invite curiosity into the room, and curiosity guides us to see things from a different perspective. Like, I could never be with someone, whether that's within my council of members, like my inner circle, or someone I'm dating, I could never be with someone who doesn't initiate curiosity in the dynamic. In terms of, like, for instance, if we're in the middle of an argument or if we're in the middle of some type of discussion, I don't mind conflict. I think friction is necessary for things to grow, to
Mhm.
repair, to rupture, and
Mhm.
also to connect again, like to
Yes.
just, yeah, to heal. So for me, I would say that I usually gauge who my people are based on how they are able to put up with the discomfort of conflict and
Mm.
also the curiosity required to repair it.
I agree. That is a really good way of putting it. I think like people head into conflict and it becomes uncomfortable and it becomes fear filled instead of curiosity, and that's when people's
Mm.
walls start coming up. That's when the ego starts building and wants to protect itself. um and then it's hard to see through the other person's eyes when all you're trying to see is like red and how to not fail as a person. And I find that's like really sad and
Mm.
hard when people look at conflict at such a moral standpoint where it's just like, well, we're just having a misunderstanding, and if we cared enough about each other, I think we should be able to find out what it is that we can do to help get each other back on the same page again.
I actually learned a ton of my relational skills from listening to divorce organizations, lawyers, the Gottman Institute, and they talk about how it's never really compatibility or the lack of it thereof that keeps you from a relationship staying together. It's your ability to fight right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you can fight and keep the dignity and respect that you have for the person, and if they're the sort of person that can argue back and forth instead of just clamming up and putting up walls to intimacy,
Yeah.
then that's how you know you've got a keeper.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many, like, in my relationships, at least, or what I learned from having close personal relationships. So I'm this sort of person who doesn't see platonic relationships as less than my romantic relationships. I think sometimes I can even be more romantic with my platonic friendships because they are so vibrant and
Mm-hmm.
so full of life and so no strings attached. Like, we know we're there because we want to be there and
Yes.
not because we're building a life together or they owe me anything or even that we're engaged in, sex or just the day to day. Like, we're not involved in any type of way. So I know
Yeah.
that they're there for me. I think that's very intimate. So I treat them like my lovers. I treat
Mm-hmm.
them as people that I'm dating. I schedule time off with them. I go on trips with them and I make sure that it's an active pursuit of connection.
Yes.
It's intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I wouldn't be opposed to polyamory in a romantic sense, but I also think I, at the moment, have no need for that sort of thing when I already have such nurturing friendships.
Yeah.
It's like I could love multiple people in a romantic sense, and I probably did at some point when I was younger or in high school or uni. But now I'm learning to appreciate the fact that love does not need to come with these ties to certain things. Like, I don't
Mm-hmm.
need to be physically involved with you to care for you in a really platonic but also romantic way.
Yeah.
And everybody that I meet, or at least I love this part of my life so much because for the longest time, I've always felt lonely in that sense of, I'm the one who's intentional. I'm the one who's checking in and showing
Mm.
up. But now there are people in my life that make it seem so natural
Yeah.
that I never have to question it or I never have to. For me, like, a red flag is if you're thinking too much about the relationship dynamics
Mm-hmm.
between you and another person, it's probably because it's not the right time to connect with them on such a close level
Yeah.
because they're not ready or you're not ready. There's something
Yeah.
in the way. For me, the people that have rescued me from myself, and I also, like, quote,
Oh.
save you. Nobody can save you. Wrong. Actually, people save you. Like, friends save you.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I believe true love always
and
saves.
so, yes, for me, that is true love.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why we've erased these types of friendships in media, or if it's
Mm.
not that popular to be talking about how you can find true love in multiple relationships that have nothing to do with romance.
I find that like when you were saying that platonic friendships are more dynamic, I think it is because like there is more dimension available. It's freely able to take up different kinds of shapes and space, and a lot of like heteronorm heteronormative relationships
Normative,
and
yes.
you know um monogamous relationships, they take on this role. There's always this idea, and it kind of makes it hard to move around and explore a little bit more. And I think like being in polyamorous environments, you really can start to see that the friendship really takes precedence and autonomy. I feel like that's another huge thing that poly relationships have a focus on, and it's really nice. Like it is, and sometimes like a lot of friends in general, they don't know how to move in a more diverse way other than like some friendships don't know how to
Mm,
be romantic with each other unless
yeah.
you know what I mean.
I think, yes, exactly, because that's also interesting because I'm quite fascinated by people. who have decided to partner up with someone long term as their primary partner and then decide that somehow, like down the road, open up the relationship. That is, however,
Oh wait, you're cutting out
I
again.
recall like the last relationship I enjoyed. Hello?
Hey.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello? It was just cutting out a bit, but I can
Okay.
hear you. Oops. Oh, nope. You're still out. Hold on.
Cool.
Let me just read what Homelander is
Um,
saying. He was saying how it's really well put. I think a lot of people feel that indifference equals bad when it is an opening to grow and learn about yourself and another individual. Yes. Once you shut down communication, the relationship stagnates, though. Yeah. We also don't normalize conflict in relationships in media or society. We treat relationships as disposable if they don't fit perfectly with your identity. Yeah. I feel like that disposable relationships is new in this age. I think it's very much like dating apps. That's kind of like what's happening and how that's. Hmm?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm like, you sound far away and you're still a little choppy.
Is it cutting out?
Oh, I hear you now.
Well, okay. Well, in that sense, I also think because people have forgotten that intimacy takes such a long time to build.
Mm-hmm.
And we expect to have relationships. I don't know why we call it situationships. I think that's just a normal part of dating.
Yeah, I think like
I
some
don't know
people
why
like
people
want to
say, "Oh,
jump
it's a
into relationships so
situationship."
fast. That's why.
I'm like, that's what you need to do to get to know someone. And also,
Yeah.
like, you need to be intentional and plan things, or just, I feel like also because in the online world, we no longer feel this urgency to share experiences in person, in real life.
Mm.
And this has been a very important distinction for me because it was on dating apps. But then I realized like people on dating apps are not interested in sharing your day to day. Like, falling in love is the easy part. It's so easy. I fall in love every time. I would equate it to when you're reading a book
Mm-hmm.
or when you're watching a film and you step into a realm or dimension in which everything is completely new and you're handed a worldview that is unique to that cinematic universe. Double entendre. And then you fall in love bit by bit and leave your old life behind. You're like, okay, well, I will ignore my current reality so that I can completely absorb this new dimension.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, that's the that's quite the easy part. Like the meet cute, the thing that they show us in romance films or books, where they how you meet someone and you feel this intense connection and it's so rare and the quality of conversation is sublime.
Yeah.
But then when that high falls, like it's not even the honeymoon stage, but the reality of logistics and
Mm-hmm.
dating and who gets to pick up the groceries and who pays for this and who pays for that. And people are scrambling and scurrying about and asking themselves if they even know the person they're with. You do. It's just that they're also quite human. And
Yeah.
sometimes we reject people because they mirror parts of ourselves that feel very real and
Mm.
scary. And that's what a relationship is. It questions your loyalty to the pursuit of your self discovery and awareness of who you are as a person.
Yeah.
And if you haven't grounded yourself in that, like if you haven't found this safety in becoming your own person, it will be quite hard to take in another person's life and accept their reality. Because then, if you reject your reality, you also reject the fact that you're in front of a very flawed human being who is probably inarticulate and incapable of communicating their needs.
Yeah.
And it'll take time to work those things out.
I feel like those kind of conversations about situationships and people acting like people are disposable, I feel like that's because there's so many people who keep running into really bad situations so often that they don't actually know how to put up a boundary and how to walk away from things that are unhealthy from them. Like I see a lot of like very
Also,
strict dating
a very
advice where
important
people are like,
caveat.
"Oh my god, like you need to dump that
Yeah.
person if they act like that." And it's like, Well, hold on, but like what's like what's the actual full story? Like are they doing that on purpose? Are they actually a shithead? Like but also are you giving them too many chances? Like there are so many
Are
factors
you?
to pull in to be like okay,
Yeah.
like is this a situationship because the communication wasn't clear and intentions were like said but it wasn't able to follow through? Like I find that a lot of situationships are broken promises and like false ideals of like well like he said he was serious about me and then I didn't really know what was going on. I'm just like you
Mm,
guys were like talking for 2 months, like chill. Like you don't need to get married tomorrow, like it's really not
yeah.
that serious. But people are so desperate to find the one, people are so lonely, and it's so I find that like people talk about dating as so exhausting and it's just like
Yes.
why are you putting yourself through that like over and over again if you're not having a good
Mm,
time? Like please.
I exactly. And also it's oh my God, so many things related to this topic. So first thing is that I don't think we get what we want when we're desperate for it because that's not
Mhm.
how life works. Like you never get anywhere in life if you are needy about it. And and this is not to like say, well, we can't really pursue things. I think we can, but in our pursuit of it, it requires a level of detachment to the outcome. And secondly, why are we entertaining people who are not in the right headspace to date?
Mhm.
Like, if you are in a situationship with someone who is clearly not ready to communicate and to partake in this mutual understanding of your needs and boundaries, if you state your boundaries and they disappear, why are you chasing them? Clearly, they're not prepared. So I think I had written this down in my notes app. We can't we need to understand that we can't really push people far more than they're comfortable because part of real love and the act of giving love is being generous with your trust in them, which
Mhm.
means even if you don't understand why they do the things they do, you trust that they will always do right by them. So
Yes.
if they are doing those things, like if they are saying one thing, future faking, and also doing a completely different set of other things, then it's a clear sign that they're not ready. And in your rejection of their indication of not being ready, in you deciding to choose them when clearly they're not, it's also a form of self. Also, it's quite rude to the other person. Like they've shown you what they're capable of,
Yeah.
and you're still here.
It's very funny. Like I find
Like
that people love to
it's not in
hold
their
on to the
capacity.
future faking. Yeah, it's not in their capacity and they're like, "Well, you said so." And it's like, "Well, they've shown you so many times that they can't." Like and they want them to fix it
I say a
so
lot of things that don't
badly.
mean it.
Yeah, I'm like, "Well, sometimes it's an
Like
accident."
even I as a person, like I would say something and say like I want something, but I also know I'm probably not ready for it, which is why it's not in my life.
Mhm. There's like this saying that it's like, why would you go and go back to the snake that bit you and ask you why it bit you and to fix it? I also saw
Mm,
this good story where like someone's mom, they hired a contractor and they fixed their plumbing or whatever, and they did a terrible job. They created like a gas leak. They almost like bad things happened, and the mom goes, "Hey contractor, I need you to go fix the thing that you did a terrible job at." Instead of finding, and that wasn't the first time. There were multiple times where they just kept messing up and not doing a thorough job.
right.
And instead of
Yes.
finding somebody who was actually competent, who was actually more trustworthy, they just
Yes.
want to make that person pay for the things that they did wrongly. But it's like,
No, 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 no.
why? Why would you endure that with each other for so long? Like that just feels like an eternal curse together.
Well, it's the old adage of Shakespeare's an eye for an eye. Like that's never led to anything good. We saw what happened to Hamlet
Yeah,
and what's his name?
I don't
I
remember
forgot. The
his.
Ophelia's brother.
Yeah, I was like his brother,
We
someone's
saw what
brother.
happened to them, It was like revenge has never been the answer. Like,
Mm-mm.
and I say this as a Scorpio stallion Capricorn rising,
Shit.
like, I am quite clear to me, like, this is my instinct. My instinct since I was a kid has always been, if somebody hurts you, you sting back. No, 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 you can't listen to that because there's a sense of justice that people feel entitled to
Mm-hmm.
that should be channeled into societal systemic issues. Like, you're not angry with this man because he put you in a situationship dynamic. You're angry with a system that's forced him to be unable to experience love
Yeah.
properly, to not have been fed love at a young age. You're angry with the misogyny that he represents and that it strikes in you. And you're angry with yourself for still wanting that sliver of approval that you know is not worth anything at all, but you're like sticking
Yeah.
around for the breadcrumbs because it validates this sense of like not feeling chosen since you were a child. Like, I think for me, this with biological men or women where men kind of, or at least if you're a more masculine leaning type in terms of your energy or the way that you approach life, men shy away, or male masculine people shy away when they feel unable to commit to providing or
Mm.
unable to, and I mean provision in terms of not financial, but in terms of like sharing, because they don't have a life to share. So why would they be there? You know, they're
Yeah.
still working on their stuff. Women, we reject people when they reject us in a way that doesn't make us feel chosen. So when women reject you and, you know, like things are going so well and you feel like it's going somewhere, and then randomly they decide that they are done with you, it's probably because multiple times they've felt like you had not prioritized them, you had not chosen them. But the trouble is, like, some people actually go through these situationships, rejection after rejection, and still being like, I want to prove myself. I'm going to
Yeah.
go ahead and show them that I am the best person ever. And that's when I think a crush becomes some sort of misplaced ambition for your life.
Yeah. That. Ugh. Misplaced ambition for your life. That's so good. I was thinking about when you mentioned Gottman Institute, how they have like the four horsemen of like relationships. I don't even remember what they
Mm-hmm.
are. Um, whereas like it's contempt, resentment, and otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I find that
Yes.
like
Wait,
society
do you
kind
want
of
to
like
go over the
runs on
two?
that. Hmm. Let's look this up.
Yeah, contempt, resentment. It does though, because it's profitable.
Mm.
That's the culture. This is what I've been actually before I went on this podcast, I've been creating a playlist around love if we existed in a time of socialism and not capitalism. Because again, when we encounter these issues, situationships, or the dating culture, and we like have a hard time with it, we're really having a hard time with capitalism
Yeah.
and the fascist state that we're in, the countries run by these really corrupt people in power. Because if our leaders try to extract innocence from children because of their fundamental incapability to connect with their creative side, you know, that's the reason why we have pedophilia.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we are like, these people are bored with their lives, but not just that, they've also corrupted themselves in the name of greed, and then just sought out these children to extract the life force energy, harvesting energy.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're led by those types of people in power, of course it becomes permission for everybody else to be corrupted in their own minds and hearts and in the way that they lead themselves through their lives. And it gives them permission to be, well, I'm not saying everybody is doing that, but I'm also saying it sets a precedent that is hard to ignore, especially for young boys who see their fathers grow up and look up to those leaders and vote for those leaders. And it's such a political thing. Like, love is so political, caring about people, humanitarian work,
Yeah.
social work. It it's so important to recognize that our issues in dating are not shallow, they're not surface level. They speak to a corrupt society, systemic issues, to poverty, to our rejection and erasure of these marginalized communities, and also white supremacy, like all those things. They are aligned with the fact that these leaders have not experienced love
Yeah.
properly. We are run by men who would never have been able to tell what love was like, and they probably misbehaved. Like, I can't imagine what they're like in their households if they're already that way in public,
I
don't
know.
care about these reputations. So
It's
yeah,
so
this
disgusting
segue,
and
sorry,
embarrassing.
but it is. And to speak to those things particularly because then you see the whole picture. This is not just a situationship that we get to laugh at. Like, it's fun. One of my favorite accounts on Instagram is called Trauma because of Discord Boys.
I love that account so much. It's so funny. I had to unfollow them because they were the only post that I was seeing, and I was like, I'll still see your post anyway, but at least like it's chilled out. It's so
I
real.
love it's hilarious, but also I think it speaks to that culture. Like, this is what we're raising.
Yeah.
These are the children that we're raising. We're allowing them to experience this.
Yeah. Homelander saying late capitalism blows. LOL. It rewards the idea of everything being transactional, and if you're not earning passive income, then you're wasting your time. Exactly. And I feel like a lot of people and like men and like within a capitalist state in a patriarchal society, things are about ownership and things are about making money. And if you like a lot of terrible, like toxic, misogynistic type of relationships is about ownership. And I was talking about this yesterday how like being in a bad relationship feels like I'm like being looked at as like a bad pet, and that I they neglect me for having needs and for having like, you know, more
Yep.
expectations that they've ever thought to care for themselves.
Mm,
You know, and like I think like
that's the
that's the
thing.
thing
Like,
about like not being fully loved. They don't know how to love themselves, so how will they able to fully love you? And a lot of times I see like conversation about like men neglecting women partners when they're like when the woman loves a man that hates themselves, like the man hates themselves, they will look at you and lose respect for you because it's like, why, like you're stupid for loving this. And it's so sad, like,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of like romantic movies and books like create this like hypnosis on these people that like you're the woman is supposed to lead this man to growth and evolution when it's
Yes.
like,
It becomes
please.
like the mother. Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And it's
Mm.
like really sad because it's like they get stuck in these hopeful states, and then that is when like the breadcrumbing happens. And I don't know, like,
Mm-hmm.
and like you said, like this is when a crush becomes like so much energy that you can be investing in your life.
It's, well, yes, a lot of really, really good points. But yeah, it does connect to that. Everything connects because to me, it's like, how are we supposed to expect men to love us properly, like men to be loving, when the education itself that you have trained them for is meant to be just an endless cycle of proving yourself
Mm-hmm.
and then taking ownership, like not taking ownership in a healthy way, but owning things, acquisition
Yeah.
and taking over, conquering. I think that honestly just puts men in a really confused and vulnerable state because they don't know what to do once they have all that power. Like, that sort of power is externalized, it doesn't come naturally. So there's so much insecurity when you are being mistreated by a man. They are probably deeply insecure and
Mm-hmm.
haven't dealt with those, like you said, like they haven't dealt with themselves, they haven't learned how to love themselves properly. So everything that they acquire, even if they are conventionally successful, even if they are billionaires, millionaires, you see them sabotaging and also doing a bunch of really sadistic things to show how mortified they are
Exactly.
on a subconscious level to have reached that point in their life. And, loving a man who does not know that his worth is detached from his external ambitions and the things that he has and owns can be a form of self harm.
Mm-hmm.
The longer you stay in that relationship, the more you accommodate and conform and twist yourself, contortionist. Like you're performing love, you're performing being the matriarch, being the leader, being the teacher, being the guide. And women are so often placed in these positions in their relationships where they're expected to carry it. Like you're going to carry the emotional processing, the communication.
Yeah.
It becomes, as Paris Paloma says, so much labor.
Have you
Unpaid
seen
labor, honestly, because you don't even get recognized for it.
exactly? Have you
Mm-hmm.
seen like the conversations about how a lot of before they thought that ADHD you can grow out of it because the ones that were diagnosed would be boys and then they would get married and they thought that they grew out of it because they got married to a wife who would then create all those labors and become their secretary and then deal with all of the problems that they had when they were children because not why do they need to deal with
Mm.
it when they have a wife?
A ton of I lose respect for a man the second he says I don't know and then proceeds to not act on it. I
Mm.
think that is a form of weaponized incompetence. I think if I was speaking to a woman, and I say this in a very biased way, obviously this is my opinion, but a lot of women can vouch for it. If I was saying that to a woman, if I were having this conversation with a woman, the second they don't know, they're looking up ways to know, to
Yes,
find out, to
exactly.
learn.
Asking
I
questions.
don't experience that. I have never, most men, and okay, I also believe in good men. The reason I say this with so much conviction is because I have a family filled with men that have always just figured it out. So I'm coming from that place. So when I say that it is a huge turnoff when men don't figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
when men kind of outsource that like level of responsibility over their lives, it's coming from that place of I know what it's like to have responsibility. I know what it's like to experience it. I know what it's like to be the person who is empowered. I know that I'm not attributing it to gender because I've seen even my gay best friends, like they sometimes could be the more masculine person uh, amongst my roster. Like I feel like, and I don't want to attribute femininity to weakness as well. I think there's levels of receptivity that we have as women that can also translate to how men can be receptive. I think that in order for you to be a good provider, you'd have to switch roles. You'd have to attune to that feminine energy of receptivity. But a lot of men are so used to not stepping up. It is driving me mad because I have girlfriends complaining about this all the time, and I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It's the they should figure it. It's a process. You can't coach them out of that. You are not, as I was saying in our chat, like you are not that good of a teacher. And also, even if you were, it's not your role to teach them something that they ought to go through on their own. So enough with like women being the lesson or women being the guide or the
Yeah.
teacher, because you could spend all of that energy towards dating people who are healthy and people who are ready to receive the love you have to offer and also earn the respect and admiration that you give them.
Exactly. I feel like also I'm kind of like wanting to retrain my idea of the feminine energy of being receiving because if you think about it, women are creators, people with uteruses are creators, and a lot of the times like there are things where the conversation about like traditional living and like being the soft girl and like waiting to be in the energy of receiving, it's kind of just like I don't really relate to that. Like I don't really understand. Like I've tried it and it makes no sense to me. And I think about like women in history and it's like a lot of them were not waiting, and because we are these like
Yeah.
compassionate people and there is just like so much love involved, I think
Mm,
receptivity is not, I think, I don't
a
know, do you
trait
know what I
that we can
mean?
gender. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something
Mm-hmm.
about the
I think so
idea of
too.
like feminine energy, even just like as the energy itself. I'm just like I don't know if that's really what it is, even if it's just an image that people are trying to describe it as. I think I'm just trying to understand like what made people want to
Mm-hmm.
say that, and if that is just like traditional, like I guess like ideals
Traditional
being like
values.
put into the idea of
Right.
like spirituality and like energy.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean?
I think so too. Like it's more of an energy rather than a distinction of like, oh, this is supposed to be what feminine women do all the time. It's more so what we're lacking in ourselves that I think we can be attracted. For me, for instance, like when I think of receiving energy, I'd say that for me, I've always functioned in a more um, patriarchal type of way because of my upbringing. So it is fundamentally, if people were to coin this in the new age terms, it would be masculine energy. But I see it as a holding structure. Like what they say, what they claim as masculine energy feels to me like a bowl, a container, and feminine energy is the fluidity of the liquid inside it, like probably milk or water, and then that water is just quite fluid and is shifting all the time. And the
Mm-hmm.
role of our masculine polarity is to hold that structure. Where I think so if I were to look at myself through those lenses, it would be the version of me that is structured and the version of me that is dynamic. And that dynamism for me is an endless void of possibilities, and this the role of that structure is to hold those possibilities and allow them to take form.
Yeah.
And if we're not really like able to do this on our own, I think the mistake we make in relationships or the error of relationships is that we start to depend on the other person to do that for us. Like we depend on anybody or like whoever we're dating to, let's say, decide the structure around our lives, create that structure, provide for the things that we lack, but we'll never be truly satisfied. Or at least I think some people could do that, but it's also quite disempowering. And at some point, they start to question it. Like, I've heard tons of stories of people who have depended on their partners and still felt a level of inadequacy because they were never able to fulfill their dreams. They stuck to this one dimensional role of being a trad wife or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
just whatever society fed them. And yeah, so my point is that I think we all have those polarities and potential to create those dynamics within, and we're more able to like date our type, people who
Yeah.
can be empowered next to us when we've made peace with the fact that we need to be able to pull our own baggage and our own work in our relationships.
I like the idea of like the masculine being a container and then the feminine being the thing that is being held. Like I think of that as like purpose versus, because like I'm thinking of like hunter gatherer energy, but I'm like even then that's like traditional values, and it's kind of like the reason why men go hunting is to feed the family, and that's not to say that the women wait to receive for the food. They're also gathering their
Mm-hmm.
own resources as well. So I think like I'm really just like chewing on this idea because I'm like the new age stuff is a jumble of old religions and also like some conservative ideals like trying to resurface itself in like a new
Yes.
dress. Homelander was saying it's like when women say, wait, oh no, what? They don't want to be provided for by a man. I think it's misconstrued because both men and women want to be provided for and protected, yes. But it's not in an emotional
Mm-hmm.
way, not physical or physically. We need the validation and recognition from our partners, and we feel provided for in the sense that you have their unconditional support. It's sad because I think
Mm-hmm.
this is another example of how capitalism has corroded our understanding of a healthy union. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
Like we've all just
Like
like
they're
been
not
trying
told
to like
you need to
fit.
provide.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like those are such really good points.
Like I think
So
about how
happy
like
to be here
if
talking about this.
I think like a lot of people like to joke about how the men that are like, well, what do you bring to the table and the 50-50 dynamic, it's like, well, they need 50-50 because they can't provide 100%. And yes,
Yeah.
like it is stupid to like
Yeah.
expect 50-50
Yeah.
from, your partner and then still
Yeah.
believing in the traditional values. Like that's not a real 50-50. But a true pragmatic way of being like,
Yeah.
hey, like you want to live together, I'm not going to be able to pay for you for everything, but I understand this is a partnership and like we try to do our best to
Mm.
help each other. Like yes, like 50-50 in theory isn't evil, but the way that it does play out in a conservative way is not 50-50. And I think that's like a lot of like what people are trying to, I guess, like navigate is like fucking red pill conversations like, well, what does she bring to the table? And then the women are just like, well, we know that's not really the case, but okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it is a sort of compensation for the lack of reparations for womankind.
Mm-hmm.
Like the reason why we require so much from men is because their systems have failed us.
Yeah.
So it's much harder for us as women to earn. Like we don't earn the same wages, we don't get the same opportunities as these men do, or the privilege of being a man is just fundamentally different compared to, you know, of course you can say that women have beauty and women are admired, but you can't say that that is a practical thing. Like you can't build a career out of just purely being a woman in this day and age and not have serious repercussions to your mental health and sanity,
Yeah,
or without
exactly.
being exploited.
Yes.
And men have lesser chances of being exploited because of their system. They built this themselves, and it's quite a pity to think of how it even creates this like detrimental scenario for men, because they've placed the burden on themselves to provide. They've also placed the burden on themselves to feed their homes, and then at the end of the day they'll complain and be like, well, women don't bring us anything, like women make us work all the time. We
It's
did
so
not,
annoying.
honestly. Like if
No one
women
asked.
ran this ran our countries, I mean, look at Ireland. That's a wonderful example of it. Like honestly, a country run by a woman is a country that is one step closer to liberation and empowerment,
Yeah.
because they're not dependent on anything external to fund themselves. Like
Mm-hmm.
artists can get paid even before they've launched their own careers. Like there's community, there's a village. That's what a matriarchy is. A patriarchy is competition, is
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
the tall poppy syndrome. It's all those parts mixed together. So when men complain about provision, honestly, I can just say, like, if a woman is able to provide for herself in all cases financially and protect herself, and also like hire a lawyer, what are you doing? Like, why are you
Yeah.
there? Like, why are you even married to this person? Like, just don't get married then like have an open relationship, or have some sort of dynamic where you're not feeding off of a woman's life energy,
I think people just
because
hate to
one way
confront
or
that.
another you probably are.
Yeah. People hate confronting that they have to choose to make the change and to go against the grain, and people have a hard time like confronting that the rules set for them don't work and has never worked, and it's uncomfortable. Like change is very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And the thing about like equality that comes to mind when it comes to like 50-50 is always like the man that says, so if you want equality that means I can hit you. It's so stupid.
Oh god.
And like that also
Yeah,
still says
because
because like
their version of being a decent person is just the bare minimum for a woman.
literally.
Like, I can do that. I can, if I wanted to, and if I were built for it, like I would do that. So it's ridiculous to talk about these things as though they aren't mutually exclusive experiences from each other. Like they talk about how women are behaving. They talk about the controversy of being a sex worker, and also throw money. It's like, are you joking? Are you being where all these men, like, there's so even misogynistic people on the internet look down on people who have, let's say, OnlyFans, and then those same people, they go home to their wives
Mm-hmm.
and secretly have an OnlyFans account.
Yep.
What what
I
I'm
hate
saying
it.
is that it's all cyclical. Can't run from yourself. Whatever you criticize in your partner is a reflection of what you are bringing to this dynamic.
It makes me think about how so many societies are built on secret, and that's why a lot of these relationships, a lot of people are always hiding things and hiding themselves and the truth about their desires. And it just like makes me think like there's so many lies just as a society, and like even with like the Epstein files and these like underground environments that's like coming to place, it's like these used to be myths, these used to be secret societies from back in the day, but it's like no, they have still been a foundation of our existing reality. So like these are the people who are at the top and they have so much power and influence, and like even if it's not because they have power, it's because like people look up to them, and so someone underneath them will look at them and be like, well, I want to do that, and they become that same secretive mind state, even whether or not it's to the same intensity that these people are doing these like heinous acts. It's like in their own home they're like having their own form of rebellion against this relationship or this marriage that they didn't want to be a part of, but because society said that that was the
Mm-hmm.
next step, that's what they felt like they had to do. Like I think about how there are times where there are conservative men that will look at other like gay men and be like, well, sexuality is a choice. And it's kind of like it shows you that
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, like they're in the closet, or like they chose
Here's
to
the
be in
thing.
that relationship, but they
I'll have
don't
to
actually want
interrupt that.
to.
It's true.
Yeah, they don't want to be
Like
there.
it is projected. Like if you men or people who say that sexuality is a choice have had to pick being straight. They have had to choose their
Mhm.
sexuality
Mhm.
because they have grappled with their sexuality. So if somebody tells you, oh, you know, like it's like who think they think it's a choice because they've chosen to be cis men or just cis in general. There are women who could be that way as well. Um, and that rejects their queerness and their
Yeah.
creativity. Like I honestly think, for me, if I were to label myself, and I hate labels already, I'd probably be saying I'm queer, but queer in a sense where I like what I like. I like what I like. I can't tell you what I like. I just know that I like it.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because people are so afraid of the part of themselves that wants to know
Mhm.
another side of them.
Yeah.
They have this curiosity, and without feeding that curiosity, it manifests in distorted ways.
Mhm.
They create, you know, heinous acts environments that disrupt their perception of themselves because they are unwilling to face the reality that they might be someone they never thought they'd be before.
Yep.
They might be into men. They might be into these things. They might be into kinks that they have brought so much shame and rejection before exploring it. So I think that it is very, very, very dangerous to be in a room with someone, especially if it's a bedroom, who has not gone through, like fully committed to the process of exploring who they are and
Yeah.
their multidimensionality, because they are rejecting something and
Mhm.
it's being externalized in a harmful way.
It's an act of
So,
repression. It's like, well, if I was able to shut that part of myself up, you should be able to too. And I feel like that is what it's like to be living in a patriarchal society. If you don't fit the roles that were set for you, you need to figure it out and still do it anyway. Homelander says, I think that marriage was isn't for everyone because the goal of marriage is agreeing to a union knowing it is not always 50-50. Yes. For better or for worse, it's about acknowledging your spouse will need you to make up for the difference in shared responsibilities within the marriage. It's devoting yourself to one another. You're not less than if it's not for you, but it is a choice of commitment that places an important higher than your own needs. Exactly. Like, there is a statistic that a lot of men will leave their wives if their wife has a type of illness or a critical illness but a lot of women will stay alongside their husbands to the end. Like, let's say either of them have cancer, usually the men will leave their wives right in the middle of treatment, while the woman will stay even if the man is like about to die. And that's really sad. I'm not meaning to romanticize marriage, but I think it's a relationship dynamic that has its ups and downs. Yeah, like it is a sacred union that has become taken advantage of to, I think, become another part of
To
just
become
capitalism.
profitable.
Hmm? Yeah, profitable,
Yeah,
exactly.
to become profitable.
Like it's just like
It
to help me
meddles
pay for
with.
a home, my mortgage, like taxes.
Like, I always think of how there are so many missed connections because people have felt like they're not financially ready to face the responsibility of taking on another person. And it shouldn't be a burden. It shouldn't be that much of a burden. You know, I'm not married, but I have friends who are happily married. I was raised by a happily married couple and still are. Like, I have the energy, hold this, have the energy of a person still married to this day. I could safely say that I am a huge advocate of preserving that sacred in the connection. I think when you find someone that you're willing to go through those ups and downs, the highs and lows, then it is such a gift. It's a marvelous gift. And also, I think people misconstrue it as this avenue to reconcile these parts of themselves that they feel are inadequate.
Yeah.
So some people go into marriage to heal
Mm-hmm.
instead of to love. Like, it's more personal agenda. It's more of a personal agenda, and some people might not know it either on a conscious or subconscious level, but some people might be in marriages particularly because a part of them was not provided for in
Yeah.
their childhood. They lacked love, they lacked something, and so they use the marriage as a way to meet those parts of themselves instead of it being this active, loving dynamic where you choose each other every single day for the rest of your lives.
Yeah.
That is the dream. It's the most simplest thing I can think of. It's just really choosing someone over and over. And people, I think we have learned to complicate it because of the many requirements to loving that society has on our shoulders.
Yeah. It is really sad that it's lost its way and its true meaning. Like I think marriage is
I
beautiful.
actually, when you asked me to go on this podcast, bullet
Wait,
points.
sorry, you're cutting out again.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's so timely because you'd asked me to be on your podcast the same week that I was curating a list of things that I know about love and things that I've been taught over the years from witnessing it. Like, I consider myself a very, I guess, very devoted student of love just because I love love. And I think that love is so powerful. It's the greatest form of power. So it's so timely because I actually have on Notes app, if you would like me to share
Yeah.
a random list of things that are, I guess, hope core. You know,
Hell
like
yeah. We love
it
hopcore.
shows you there's hope in this world, and also like the ways that we can kind of ourselves in love and meet ourselves in the truth of being a loving person. So should we open my notes?
Yeah. Share us the hope core. I think that'll be nice after the sad barrage of situationships and 50-50.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Let's see. So, mm, I would say I would start with the rules of love. It's called the rules of love, agape. First of all, what we were talking about was the matching people's depth, just like not going beyond what they're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're kind of like in this era of understanding ourselves more. I love that we're talking about boundaries. I love that we are in a headspace of self discovery where we also are more curious about our own path. And I think that real love occurs in such a natural way. Like all the meet cutes on films and shows, they're true. Sometimes you just
Yeah.
see and lock eyes with someone across the room and you just know.
Just now.
And I don't know why we talk about this, but I think that that is such a special way to connect with them. And that if we find ourselves in a position where another person is not opening up, it's not a sign to leave immediately. You're going to have to knock on the door a few times.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of love. Like, that is what real intimacy looks like. Going at their own pace and letting them go on their own pace and also honoring yours. And when you have that middle ground, then that's how you know that it's worth pursuing. And you're also pursuing each other actively. Like, it's not just the man or any kind of gender roles. Like, you are pursuing showing up for each other, providing care, providing nurturing, like all the emotional support or whatever it is that the other person needs. And that takes time to really learn. It takes it down and have those big conversations and to have the courage. And I also want to say that I think we've become so scared of loving people, wearing our hearts on our sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we have become more inclusive as a society, from all the horror stories we hear about love, that
Yeah.
it stops us from believing in good things. But I want to say that just because it's what you see on the internet, on social media, does not mean that it's the reality. I have been to marginalized communities. I've been to people, like, I've met different sorts of people in different walks of life. And I can tell you that the internet is literally at least a percentage of the population that are miserable and unhappy and venting. And good people, warm people, kind people, loving people are actively pursuing connection in their
Mm-hmm.
day-to-day lives. And I witness this all the time. I think that we forget that just because we're staying quiet does not mean that it's not there,
Yeah.
that we exist. Good people, we care. We form communities that care about each other and take care of each other and protect each other. Like, we look after the environment. We are very active in terms of philanthropy work and just looking out for each other even in our homes. It doesn't have to be this massive project that you're, like forming a soup kitchen or starting an organization. Love is all around. It's just that the sort of thing that you see on the internet is the misery that people are feeding off of. It's quite loud.
It's
And the
very
thing is,
heightened.
miserable people are very loud.
Yeah.
We're also quiet about this. I mean, I think I'm somebody who has chosen to stay quiet about my love life and also my personal relationships because it brings me so much joy. And I tend to protect that part of myself. But I also intend to share it more often in my art these days because I think that's what we need.
Mm-hmm. That's so nice. I agree. I think love does grow quietly, and people are a lot more precious with love, and usually hate does like to be louder. So it is very easy
Yes.
to lose hope being online sometimes, but in little moments, just
Mm-hmm.
like showing up in the businesses nearby and talking with the people who are working and just your neighbors, I think you can see that love
Yeah,
grows in very small places.
exactly. So I love that, being able to share these things. I think it's an important message to me because as much as I usually shy away from sharing my relationships, the reason I share these stories, the reason on the internet and talk to my online friends and like tell people about it on threads, I just really, really want people to know that not everything you see on the internet is the reality. Because in reality, the people who are enjoying their lives, who are living and
Mm-hmm.
communicating and sharing those like villages of support with each other, are chronically offline.
Yes,
I would
exactly.
say we're not really keen on sharing everything. And okay, so the second one that I would want to also read from my notes app is that it's for the broken-hearted people. And I think heartbreak, oh my goodness, heartbreak, I have so much to say on it. it is transformative. It
Mm-hmm.
is necessary. And in the clutches of grief, you will meet a version of yourself that knows love like no other. It's a transcendental experience. And I think also it deserves paid time off.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to
Mm-hmm.
say that real love knows when to accept when things are over. So just because things end doesn't mean it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
And also, with people, there's a due date. I love stories like La La Land or Past Lives or any kind of film where it shows two people intersecting and somehow it's a detour to meet that person. But because of the detour you took, you were able to go on your paths to understanding who you are and what you want to do for a living, or
Mm-hmm.
just like understanding yourself, to know who you are.
Yeah.
I think we forget that those are sort of the most important types of love that we will ever have in our lifetimes, the ones that don't last, because it shapes you, it molds you, and then you carry it with yourself forever. You carry it with yourself forever, and then sometimes I recently watched The Worst Person in the World, and there's this line that stuck with me where they had already broken up, and she and her partner were speaking to each other, and her partner said, like, I remember you in a way that you won't even remember about yourself. I
Mm.
carry with me a part of you that you've long forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have conversations with you in my head. So I think that that's what it is when you have temporary love. Temporary love could be some of the best relationships you would ever have in your life. And if we're not careful to honor those experiences, we might reject it, we might resent it, we might
Yeah.
form some sort of contempt. But to me, I love temporary love because it shows me that love shapeshifts and forms, but like all energy, it cannot be destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
So you carry with you that love even after you no longer are in touch with that person. Like,
Yeah.
I ran into an ex last December and I realized I have not stopped loving this person, but it doesn't mean I want a life with them
Yeah.
or I'm in contact with them or I want them back. I love this person and that's the way it is for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Love comes in so many different forms, and love will always change us. Short loves are always a nice mirror into your world and a new
Mm,
window, a specific window of who you are and who you were in that time and place.
I love that when you have a truly deep connection in a temporary relationship with someone, they preserve a part of you that you can revisit at any point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably won't remember. Like, you'll look back on it and see, oh, in 2016, when I was dating this person, here, my interests were quite different to who I am now. But you also, like you said, like the mirror of that version of you, you see yourself like a caricature of your past.
Yes.
And they were able to protect that for you. They
Mm-hmm.
kept you in their heart. And because of that, you live on in that form that you won't even remember.
Yeah. Nostalgia is sometimes, I don't know, fan fiction. But I think it is really cute.
Drug.
Hmm?
Yanas, actually, like real Yanas, we don't need stimulants because we know how to be obsessed with the highs. Like, yeah, we probably don't. Yeah, for me, I've been so, oh my god, like raw dogging my life has been such a trippy experience. Okay, this next one is, you'll know if you truly love someone because you can let them go.
Mm.
And I know that's such a cliche, but love allows, like, if you do love someone, when it's over, you can easily say, I think the experience we've had is sufficient for what it is. There's nothing more to add to it. And so I let you go. To cling to past lovers, are, I wouldn't say in a state of limerence, but it is sort of limerence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Where it kind of is this attachment to a version of the person that no longer exists.
Yep.
And then you let them live like that in your head,
Yeah.
convinced that it's real love. But what you're really looking for is a mirror into what you were trying to face, like a reality that you had not come to terms with. That's why you're obsessed with someone.
Yeah.
And that's why people fall into states of limerence, because they can't deal with the fact that, hey, if this person rejects me and I feel like I'm a piece of shit and I can't have any self worth, I need to get them to choose me. So
Yeah.
no matter how many times they reject me, I need them to validate the fact that I'm worthy of being chosen. So that's not love. That is purely a mania of obsession and just like unwillingness to face the truth that you probably need to work on your sense of security and self esteem. And it's okay if you're not ready to date people because you're struggling with accepting and embracing yourself,
Yeah.
or going on this like solo journey and embracing your solitude. I love being single. I love being partnered. I think both have different purposes, and we need to talk more about how being single allows you to understand what it feels to be empowered.
Yeah.
It allows you to provide yourself, to entertain yourself, to challenge your creativity on levels that you would never need to if you were partnered with someone who was doing all those things for you. So, yeah, I think that's very, like, a very important matter to speak on when it comes to the differences between love and obsession.
Yeah. Learning to let go is a huge act of love for yourself and another, and like truly caring for what you had. I think that's also like a form of love in itself, instead of waiting to ruin it and forcing it to be something that it's not.
Brings me to my next point. I probably have just like two more to go. If you are feeling unloved, it's an invitation to create it, because we
Mm.
overlook the fact that the people who are meant to love us are already in front of us. Like, we create such ceremony around strangers.
Yeah.
When we meet someone for the first time, we give them the guest bedroom of our lives. We give them the treatment that our loved ones would probably want from us.
Yeah.
So I have moments of disconnection from the world, like a switch where I become detached and more turned inwards. And it gets hard to step out of that. I'm like, oh, why didn't this person check in? Like, why don't my friends care about me? And then I realized, no, you're the one who is actively cutting them off from your connection. And most of the people who are meant to love you, they're just waiting for you to reach out as well. They're mirroring your energy.
Yeah.
I think we forget that we have the capacity to be like, hey, I'm suffering. Are you suffering too? Okay, then we have shared suffering levels. Obviously, we're friends for this very reason, because we can laugh at it together.
Wait, what did you say
Um,
this point was?
Yeah, so I was saying, like, you can, I think people forget that you can reach out to someone and ask them, like, hey, are you suffering? Because I'm suffering. And then you share your list of bullet points of
Yeah.
what you're going through. And then they say, yeah, I've experienced nearly the same thing. Are you experiencing it? Yeah. And then you realize this is exactly why you're friends, because then you can laugh at it together. You
Yeah.
can make light of these absurdities in life that are, I mean, crippling, but also so normal to experience.
Yeah.
Like,
No need to
oh
go
my
through
God,
it
I don't know
alone.
why we don't. Yeah, exactly. And so, feeling like you're in a state of lacking love or lacking a sense of community, this also ties back to what I was saying about creating an account like Venus and Vixen. I probably will never change that hand.
Yeah.
Reminds me that my yearning for endless love and devotion has to come from my initiation to step into it, and also to create it more in my community, around myself, and on the internet, wherever. So it's really my responsibility. People and share that responsibility, forward. I've met such beautiful, wonderful people on the internet for a reason because I was willing to go first. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you are not cringe. You are not like losing your mystery or whatever it is that people feed you on the internet. Like, you're not
Yeah.
losing your cool energy because you're reaching out. And most of the time, I've met cool girls, I've worked with people who are perceived as really, really cool. They don't say anything because they have nothing to say. they're not, they're private because they have nothing to say.
They're not
They're like a
mysterious. They
recluse
just have
because they are
nothing.
working through things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would like to be more passionate, honestly, and I want to be around passionate people. And
Mm-hmm.
that is one of the gifts and privileges that I had received from deciding to take my work public.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about like the imagery of like being a white glove for strangers, like white glove treatment versus our close ones a little bit more, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, callous. No, that was a really good point. What was what was like the
Yeah.
main point that you wrote down? I'm forgetting that part.
Mhm.
Like what did you say that it was?
Is this about the like the
Treating strangers?
creating community or creating love? Yeah, with strangers and also people in general that, especially your friends, like the ceremony, the ritual, because once we're past this stage of exploration or getting to know someone, we've forgotten that the best parts of life are in the mundane, like running these errands, going to the grocery store, picking out your outfits together. Like, we forget that these are the people we've chosen a very specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like we look outwards, we look towards the general public, and the relationships that need nurturing. Plant your own gardens. You have a garden. You have roses. You plant bloom. They're blooming, and you rejected them or ignored them. So it's
Mm.
really just like an invitation to put down the phone or put down whatever it is that you've distracted yourself from and be present with the parts of your lives that are already abundant and in a state of flow
Yeah.
and that you've chosen from. It also the
I love
trust,
that.
like if your past self entrusted these connections to you, then you owe it to that version of yourself to keep it going, to sustain them, and to create
Mm.
magic around those mundane experiences.
That's really nice. I just got this one. I just got this card. This card at the bottom. Whoa. Whoa. It doesn't like that. What the heck? It just keeps disappearing. It says, stay away from instant gratification. Excuse me. And it says luxury.
Yes.
And our relationships within our community are a luxury. Getting close to strangers that don't know anything about us and being fake with them is a type of instant gratification because we get to be the perfect version of us and they don't need to see our messiness, but it is a luxury to be able to be messy within our community.
Okay, it's the reputation of people who are rakish or adopt the Madonna whore complex or just like this reputation that kind of makes them accessible as a fantasy and not the reality.
Hold on, you sound far away.
Really get, yeah, like people who. Sorry, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so I was saying like people who adopt these fantasy versions of themselves are escaping
Yes.
in the most boring, ordinary ways. And I think love is most romantic when it's boring. Like, and it's someone who has a reputation of, whimsy or being extra and just being, just going all out. I actually romanticize love more with people when they do the most boring, mundane tasks with me. Like, if someone were to fold my laundry or if someone were to one of my friends actually, so they had went to they've gone to the bookshop. They rarely do that, but like it was to get a present for me, so they bought a bunch of books. But that didn't stand out. What stood out for me was that they bought me 5 blue pens. They knew that I only write in my journal with a blue ink
Mm-hmm.
and got me blue pens.
That's so sweet. That is very
I
being
teared up.
seen and being acknowledged and who you are. I love love in that way.
It is in the tiny, tiny details that
Mm-hmm.
people who are distracted
You sound far away again.
by the
It sounds like
the
you're like
real.
moving from the mic.
Sorry, I'm actually quite still.
That's so
Like
interesting. I wonder
I'm
what's happening.
perched like a penguin.
Yeah.
Like I'm a penguin at the moment.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you sound better. I wonder what's going on.
Okay, where's I going with this?
Ball pens. Blue pens.
The yeah, pens and also the tiny details.
Mm-hmm.
I think we get distracted by cheap thrills. Like as
Yeah.
people were saying, it's the strangers and instant gratification. I love like another context that I'm working with in terms of in my past work as a creative director and just having my hands on in culture is that it teaches you that luxury, real luxury, is about sustainability, like things that last. I love things that last. My best friend is a Taurus. She's also a fascinating and wonderful astrologer. So, anyways, like she's Taurus. She understands that things require slowing down to fully absorb them.
Mm-hmm.
And in that slow growth, then you can focus on taking out the weeds, planting new roses on some side, and then just focusing on that for the next couple months. It's like this metaphor of garden where you never really have to escape from it. It becomes this sanctum
Mm-hmm.
or sanctuary for these different types of love to come together
Yeah.
and meet you where you are in your life.
Mm, wait,
Time.
it's cutting out again. Hello?
Shall we wait it out? Is this better?
Yes. I can hear you.
So, yeah, back to what I was saying. When we parts of ourselves in the people that we've kind of chucked out of our sphere because they're no longer novel,
Mm.
um,
Yeah.
it deprives us of so much oxygen and potential that could
Mm-hmm.
come from the messages that we share in conversation with people who have known us for a long time
Yeah.
and held us in that regard of carrying our history. We cannot move anywhere, like gain momentum to a new place in our lives if we don't allow this history to be brought with us on this journey. Like there are times, of course, when you don't want to review it. There are times when you will want to stay quiet and maybe like for me, like I have periods of being quiet when I don't want to hear from my friends because they
Yeah.
know me too well. But exactly, it's because they know you too well. It's that gift of being fully known and fully seen and understood that people have kind of disregarded. Like that is the beauty of the old world. And luxury, like I said, like just tying this back to what I was saying, to me, that is the true wealth
Yeah.
because you have, yeah, you have your people.
You have your
That
people.
is such a rare thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It is such a gift.
people are the reason we're here. Like I'm not gonna lie, like one of my favorite things ever was to read an essay by this astronaut who went to space, dreamt of it all his life, and then said, I learned that going to space is that one of the most fascinating things that he'd absorbed was that it was so ordinary. We dream of galaxies, like
Yeah.
we dream of we dream of supernovas and galaxies colliding and also the potential of parallel universes. But he said that everything that was interesting, everything that made him feel alive and connected was down there on Earth.
I love that so
We
much.
take that for granted so much.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
so sweet. We do dream and we wish and we live in our fan fictions in our heads. But the reality is, our luxuries are right in front of us at our fingertips. It's so nice. I love people.
Yeah.
And it is easy to
And
take
so our
people for granted.
capacity to like, I true, and also like what was I saying about this? People always ask, like, how can I add more romance or whimsy, or how can I be more creative about these like wonderful things in my life? How can I
Yeah.
add a sparkle to it? Hmm. You're not a true romantic if you can't sit with the mundane and
Mm.
fully
Immerse in that.
see
Yeah.
its potential
Mm-hmm.
to be alchemized into the extraordinary.
And let
Like
things bloom. Yeah.
those are the ingredients that you need. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's right in front of you. And so it just takes this willingness to linger,
Yeah.
this willingness to not run from the experience of feeling your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorite quotes as well, it's from an artist that I love, is that she said, I don't um I've never had to fake it until I made it. What I had to do was to feel it
Yeah.
and to feel it
Mm-hmm.
as many times as I could until I had understood that it was
Felt that it
a
was
feeling
true.
greater than any kind of, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's this feeling that you sit with and these feelings that you allow, and those are your teachers. They're better than any kind of dating advice you'll see on the internet or
Yeah.
quote,
That's brilliant. I love that.
because everything you need is internal.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally like we always look for guides. We've and that's great. I love research. I love like asking people what they think, or
Yeah.
asking like looking for a different perspective, right? But also when it comes to internal work, your best teacher will always be yourself. Going into the
Mm.
intimacy, the privacy of your own heart, and sitting with yourself long enough to learn what
Yeah.
it's like to linger. So the next time that you're presented with someone who is capable of sharing that personal space, that intimate space, you don't run from it.
Yeah.
You know that it's a space for you to linger. Like we don't linger enough anymore.
Yeah.
We've, as a society, we've like rejected the idea of yearning, the idea of lingering, the idea of like staying long enough. We're all like, oh, do you need space? I'll give you space. Sometimes you don't need space. Sometimes you need to sit in front of each other
Yeah.
and fully witness the person.
And fully absorb each other's presence. Yeah. I know.
Exactly.
I think
I feel like we need to bring back eye gazing,
ooh, there are a lot of eye
staring into
gazing
people's eyes for a
practices,
long
yeah.
time.
I feel like it's something that like specific spaces have access to that, but I feel like people don't really do eye gazing unless it's in the movies or in the books and in the quiet corners of restaurants and bars. We're almost at
Eye
3
contact is
hours
such an
here.
intimate thing.
I wanna I
Yeah.
wanna ask you about what you're working on next, because you mentioned something about like this your Substack and what you
Ooh.
want to be getting into.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, this is
Wait, you
a
disappeared
minute
again.
in a sense
Wait,
where.
sorry, I lost you.
Okay. Hello.
Hi, start over.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So I've been working on my poetry collection, which I'm very excited by because this really signifies the start of my dedication to a very long process of finding my creative voice as an artist and understanding that it's going to take a long time and enjoying that process. Like one of my most, I guess, talked about essays in terms of like the people that follow me or people that have commented is this essay called Everything in Life is a Slow Burn.
Mm-hmm.
And that is sort of where my head's at, where I'm really working with being a Saturn ruled native and embracing those traits and qualities as someone who can cultivate those like that patience and that willingness to devote yourself to one thing for as long as it takes to master it,
Yeah.
even if it goes beyond this lifetime, even
Yes.
if it has to be this soul thing. And so, okay, so anyway, that is sort of where I'm going with this, where I'm like, the poetry collection is just a start.
Yeah.
It's called Swan Song.
I
And
love that
I
name.
love it because I've always fantasized about going off grid, just leaving everything behind. And I think in many ways it's such a metaphor for how I have left parts of myself and identities that I was so reluctant to part with
Yeah.
in order to meet a new version of myself. And I hope that in the transformation of who I am as a person and who I am becoming, other people can also find some sort of comfort in knowing that they're not alone in their journey of shapeshifting, in their journey of turning into someone they're unfamiliar with,
Yeah.
but also being fluid with it and being playful and embracing that energy of sometimes I do need to disappear because I am a girl who has random urges to disappear, and it's not because you want to stop living, but really because you have a better way of seeing things. And deep down I think people know that they all have this vision for their lives that it could be better, and I love encouraging that creativity from them. So that is the purpose of that poetry collection, that archive, and people can access it on Substack. And so that's just the first thing. The second is my paintings, which I will be sharing pretty soon,
I'm so
but
excited
also
for
within a
this.
private space.
Yeah.
I'm more of a surreal painter. Like my inspirations have always been very much like spiritually attuned and also intuitive women like Hilma Clint and Leonora Carrington, or also Matisse. I love Matisse for his fluidity and his playfulness and the colors and the ways that he can combine form and shape that are quite abstract, but then make sense to him. And you just know that it has communicated this part of him
Yeah.
that can now be, I guess, take on the form of a work of art that you can stare at and then just see that this is who he wants to
Yeah.
be in this moment. You know, and it's like I love it because it's a language.
Yeah. I love Hilma
Is
Clint's work too because it's kind of like, did she know that it was gonna create such a spiritual experience later on?
yes, I don't think they did. In that
Right?
moment, I think they were just like, I have a messy relationship with my emotions. I'm freaking out. It's like, I guess it's a state of disorder and chaos, right? And also, yeah, I think being an artist is loving the chaos and loving those moments.
And just
And
trying to make sense
everybody
of
is an
things.
artist.
Yeah. I agree.
I feel like I feel like I'm sort of like Gusto from Ratatouille in that sense.
Yeah.
Where he's like, everybody can cook. I go around talking to people and saying everybody is an
I
artist.
agree.
You just don't know it yet.
Yeah. Everyone is creative. They just use it in mundane things in their lives and they don't have to be painting or drawing to be creative at all.
Yeah, and also I think it's perfectly fine to have hobbies that you don't monetize. Like it's been important for me when I sent it abroad, when I said, okay, I want to make money from my work because this is honestly what I do for a living. I'm not rejecting this identity.
Yeah.
I also had to separate my hobbies and be like, then what do I do? I design websites for free. Oh, boards and newsletters. Like I should.
Ooh, wait. It's so choppy.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, there's so many interruptions. I was just saying, like, it's important to distinguish what we care about as people in terms of, like, if this is something you would never ever get paid to do, would you still do it? I stay up, like, I sometimes sacrifice my weekends creating website designs and branding my businesses. It's ridiculous,
It's so
but
fun.
also it's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very fun.
It's good. It's always
And
good
I
to
also
follow
like
joy.
stayed. Yes. another, like, to that point, like, one last thing is that I would love to create a world where people through creativity and also
Wait, sorry, what?
joy. Hello?
Hi.
Hi. So I was saying I'm also in pursuit of creating environments where people can rediscover themselves and pursue their joy through creativity because it's such a healing thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think no matter what you go through. So I studied in Australia. When I was 19, I went to a school of for Kundalini and also somatic healing. And what I found was that most of what they teach you in connecting with the body is really just a part of the creative process because after you've connected, then you want to express something.
Yes, exactly.
And so, what I'm building in terms of a long term part legacy is a space. I've also thought about, like, whether that's in Europe or in a remote island, an art residency where people come together and we create this sanctuary for our creativity, for our living work, no matter what it is, if you're an artist or if you're someone who just really wants to create this breathing room for
Mm-hmm.
leisure. I'm very interested in shared spaces that encourage more leisure outside of capitalism. We need more of that, and we need to take a break from productivity and also to discover this part of ourselves that isn't always just working towards, like being on the hamster wheel and working really long hours. It numbs people out. So,
Yeah,
who would you be outside of your role in society? It's just like severance,
I
like
agree.
who are you outside of that work, like work state of mind. So yeah, those are the three things that I'm focused on. It'll
That's
probably
so
expand and grow, and I
exciting.
have so many branches.
Yeah,
But yes, I'm
I love
excited to share
that.
them, and thank you so much for giving me the space to talk about these things and to have me on your podcast. Like, this is
Yeah,
so
thank you for
exciting,
being
and I
my
love
first
the way
guest.
that
It's been
you
so fun. I thank you for going on this
you're a
Valentine's
great
date with
host.
me.
It's probably the most, like, in my history of dates, it's the most in depth I've gone on a first date.
Oh, that's so true. This is our first date. Wow. Thank you for being so honest and open with me. I appreciate it so much. And we're very
Thank you for
grateful
holding
for these
space.
chats. Yeah. I think it's been nice to talk about love and the ways that, like, the world around us really shape our relationships and how we show up in community with one another. Like, thinking about that retreat, like, it is such a privilege to be able to think about how to live without capitalism when cost of living is becoming harder each day. And I have to
Yeah.
remember to be, like, grateful to be able to turn to hobbies, to turn to something like this, to spend time with you and my friends online. It's just like a lot of people don't have access to that. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, I just be chilling
Yes.
online.
Like, it honestly just makes me so sad how many people are in states of survival
Mm-hmm.
that they still, like, they can't create this time
Yeah.
to be with themselves. Like, creativity is so accessible, you can do it, but also when you are selling your time for money,
Mm-hmm.
then there is absolutely no way that you could explore and find your creative voice, I think.
There's just so much
And
energy
so,
being used from surviving sometimes.
yeah, because creative energy is life force energy.
Yeah.
And it's just, I would love to encourage more moments of actively creating that life force energy through my work. And also, sometimes I've looked at artists' work or like a work of art or painting, and I can breathe.
Yeah.
And that is really just the feeling we want to give people. Because if you know that you can offer anybody a sliver of relief or morsel of relief in their lives, then why would you hold yourself back from that?
Mm-hmm.
I think we all, like, owe it to ourselves and to each other to offer the love that we can give for free. And that is
Yeah.
the most, like, low hanging fruit, but also it's transformative on its own.
I agree. I feel like that's something that I'm also aiming to create in this environment with this space, and just like talking with people about love and letting love grow in different ways and hoping that like this reaches people's hearts, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for
Piercing through the
hanging out
heart,
with
and that
me.
is how poets do it.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wonder
that's
if
so
people have
sweet.
questions, or if we'd want to, like, how would we want to end the session?
Yeah. Oh, we should have put up a link. Ah, damn it. I forgot about that for questions and
That's all.
stuff.
It's all good.
um, yeah, if anyone has any questions or any last minute thoughts that you would like us to cover, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
been a very thoughtful conversation that we've had tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
only because you're such a good mirror. Like, honestly, I'm so excited for you to have a podcast because you're the perfect person for interviewing guests. Like, you
No.
can just sit with them and have them reveal everything.
That is one of my superpowers. I do that.
Yeah, it's like, give me all your secrets.
Give me your tea. Okay, let me pull some cards for the end of this. I think it's like everything we've talked about has been very
Lovely.
inspiring. And it's making me revisit like my own ideals for love and showing up in the world. Actually, no. We don't want that one. We want the other one. We want the fun one. This one. Ooh. Welcome everything. The Ace of Wands. It's interesting.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Allowing.
Just
Love is
receiving.
allowing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a skill, but it's also a skill of allowing.
It is welcoming and it's also being open and also saying that giving in that energy of like, hey, I want this. This is a conversation I had yesterday as well about like dreaming bigger and asking for what you want and letting it come to you.
Hmm. Don't be the idea that we are meant to wait for our lives to unfold. I've always said, like, one thing I picked up from a previous coach, my activity coach, is that if it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Exactly. If it's
So
meant to be, come
I
to
think
me. I believe that so much too.
it's we create the luck that we see in our lives. We
Yeah,
do. Like, that's magic.
I agree. How are you going to be spending the rest of your Valentine's Day weekend? Oh, I think
Indulging
it's getting
in the
choppy
most.
again.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying probably indulging in the most Venusian way possible.
Hell
Like, I
yeah.
love a warm bath, I love soaking. I just got a new shower installed and I'm
Ooh.
excited to use it. I feel like such an adult when I say these things. It's so funny. But also, yeah, like just really indulging in the five senses, six senses. And yeah, like dreaming up ways to start my blog on writing about food and sex. I'm very excited
Mm-hmm.
about that.
That's gonna be so exciting. I'm looking forward to
Also,
that too.
oh my gosh, I had forgotten to tell you this, like just in the friend group. Saturn moving in Aries is in my third house, which means I'm feeling this
Ooh.
pressure in a good way, like this drive to be great at writing, communication,
Hell yeah.
to be specific, to like lead in thought and form and just vision. So that's what I'm planning on, like conquering the world as per usual on a random Sunday, Monday.
I'm so excited. Yeah, this energy of
Yeah.
Saturn and Aries for me has been very inspiring. Like
Hmm.
clearly we have this podcast, so yay! I have good hopes for this transit for this next 3 years.
Yeah. And I love the collaborative energy that I have in all my friend groups at the moment where we're all asking. Like, one of my other connections had reached out yesterday and asked me, like, what are you working on that needs help? Because I have free time and I would like to work on something to be passionate for. And I was like, that is
Mm.
such a great way to capture my attention. Like,
Yeah.
you have my full attention.
Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that we are becoming more passionate. I love that you're launching this podcast. I'm also available for any soundboarding if you need. Very open to that.
Hell
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yay! Well, thank you
Excited.
so much for spending your Valentine's weekend with me, or one day of your weekend. Um,
Thank you for having me. Um, Next time we probably should do this at a chicken shop
I would
or
love to do a
whatever,
chicken shop date.
so
That'd
that
be
we
so
can.
much cuter.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can picture it. Like we would show up in perfect
Just
styled clothes.
yes.
It'd be
Eating our
amazing.
chicken tenders in silence. Wait, that's a terrible interview.
So demure and like blushing.
So
Oh,
cute.
thank
I would
you.
hope that I would
Thank
be
you
as good
so
of a
much for
date.
holding the conversations.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
No, I forgot her name. I already forgot the host, but I hope to be as good of a host as her when we go on our chicken shop date.
Amelia.
Yes, Amelia.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have been telling people when it comes to these projects, these are not final. I'm not launching them because I'm ready to kind of publish it. I know what it takes to build something that lasts, and I want to really see myself try. Like, I'm not hurriedly going. People always say, like, for instance, traditional publishing. You could go down that route or you could just publish on your own. The reason I don't self publish is because I really want to see how I can grow into my work.
Yeah.
And that is I admire and respect people who have spent at least a decade or 20 years just
Yeah.
working on their craft, because then know that it's the experience that creates them, that creates their expertise and not just sheer luck or
Mm-hmm.
nepotism. But yeah, like I'm excited to see where there's
Hmm?
on a personal level as your friend.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone that tuned in and for hanging out with us tonight. We might be back tomorrow with some more Libra Rising friends. We'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to figure out the time. Kelly might be here tomorrow, so that's going to be fun. I'm trying to get Gray here as well. It's
Mm.
her husband's birthday weekend, so we'll see where her energy is at. And then I have an astrologer friend who might also be available. So it will be a Libra rising gang tomorrow, and that'll be so cute and fun.
Perfect. We'll be there for sure. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Heaven, once again. You are, oh my goodness, how would I even describe you? You're an angel. You're an angel. And I'm very lucky to have you as a date.
Thank you
Very
so
lucky to
much for
have you
being
as my
such a
friend also.
great date. All right, we're gonna sign off today. Good night, everybody, and
Bye,
thank you for being here.
everybody.
See you tomorrow or later next week. Next Friday, we will definitely have another episode. Okay, bye.